right, you lot. Come in. Settle down. The bell rang 12 minutes ago. You're late. All right. File in there. Who's that there? Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. There, Eldor. But you know, yes, I know. A wizard arrives precisely when he means to, and all that. Sorry. Try to be on time there next time. Gandalf there. All right, everybody's ready by looks of it. Okay. Cadets, order. Welcome to the Fleet Cosmic Briefing. Is in session. Take your seat as 4 galactic travelers come to meet. And so, with your fingers and data pads poised, welcome to your leaders, Jesse, Curtis, and Ostradamus Toys. But in the expanse of the cosmos, there's heaps to explore. And so, in going where no man has gone before, there's also Brick Something and Eldor. Yes, come all ye affiliations from far, far away regions, as we discover the worlds of cosmic legions. It's a tale where planets and stars unfold, a system divided around a fiery sun named Zol. So voyage with us as we learn of Khazanians, Squilix, Suvians, Reseries, and Tetraderm, and yes, scavengers and traders, prisoners and tyrants. There's so much to know. But be prepared, should the red alert groan. At the 4 Horsemen, a galactic journey awaits one and all, where you can create characters, all aliens, both great and small, and build your species, be they minor or grand, just like the gods, or when suns die and universes expand. But be warned, and do not miss this captain's log, because you don't want to cross paths with High Warden Slog. Indeed.
Well, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Man, it feels good to be back in the classroom, which is something I never thought I'd ever actually say in life. But it's true. It's totally true. Guys, it feels like it's been forever since we've all been able to get together and sit down and have ourselves a officially good Legions class, especially with all of us present. So good to have us here. Unfortunately, Sean could not be joining us tonight. Work has been kicking his butt, making sure he's hitting deadlines. We love you, Sean. We miss you, and we'll see you again soon. We understand you had to drop out of school or whatever to go do some work. We get it, but, we'll be happy when you're back, brother.
He's on sabbatical.
See you soon. Indeed.
Yes. He's on sabbatical. That's what it is.
That's my $5 word for the night.
So, wanted to get in and start saying hey to people in the chat, and then we'll start talking about what we're here to be talking about tonight. First up, I want to sit there and look at this little overachiever talking about being the teacher's pet. And Travis, you absolutely are. Guys, there is still time. Make sure you go ahead and back the stacks so that way you can get it at the cheapest price possible during the Kickstarter run. After that, it goes up in price from there, but definitely go check out Hexastack on Kickstarter and back the stack, because that's what your legions need to be sitting on. But because he is such a teacher's pet, Ed's just calling him out and putting it on point like it's supposed to. Tell him straight
that kid.
He is totally that kid, sitting at the front of the class trying to answer all the questions all at once. So it's good to have Travis and Ed in the chat here tonight. It was great meeting both of them at PowerCon. Got to meet the legend himself at PowerCon, Jesse. Oh, man, it was so great. It was awesome. All right, let's get into it here. We've also got Nolan hanging out with us this evening, as well as K-Roll. Good to see you. We have a Theodore Rex in the chat saying, man, kitty. Oh, boy, we were talking about some kitty right before we went online.
No, we're not talking about. Don't bring that person up again.
Okay.
Block them from the channel.
Oh, I won't be doing that, but you'll have to fill me in a little bit more. Yeah, well, I mean,
it's just my coworker.
Oh, Lord. Allison Troy hanging out with us. normally talking about Star
Listen.
Wars, but tonight we're talking about beautiful, beautiful cosmic legions. So good to have you.
Indeed.
Thank you. Rhea Black with us as well. Good to have you here. And keeping us
Evening there,
going
Ray.
down. We've
What's up
got
there?
Michael Cagiet. Oh man, I hope I pronounced that right.
Michael
Evening,
Kaga.
sir.
Thank you. I
Home
appreciate.
Canada.
I see.
The
I
Ken
see.
there.
We got Ken in the
He's making
house.
the
joining us
connections
as well.
there.
Always making connections because he's, as Allison would say, out of control. I know it gets
Sorry.
bad. It gets so bad. Sorry, children.
It's coming
got
up.
Paul Morales in the house as well. Good to have you here. And all the talk about kitties and lightning. What's it?
Lightning.
It's frightening.
Hey, man, I'm just going to say, if you're all shouting out about lightning pussies ho hits a little different.
I thought you were going to say Grease Lightning there, sir.
Ooh. No, that was on the other show with the prolapse. It was definitely greased.
Oh god.
Oh, yes. Oh.
There it is. The out of.
To be clear, we just didn't want to be sued by the Thundercats. So
That's right. That's right.
It's all fair game. Get your minds out of the gutter.
It'll go back. It will.
Cowboy
So-
Bay.
Cobweb joining us tonight, hitting that stopping by. I know he said he himself is still enjoying his wonderful B-Day dinner. Big happy birthday shout out to
Oh, yes.
Cobweb joining
Happy
us.
Birthday, indeed.
Absolutely, brother. Glad to have you here. All right, guys. So while we were all hanging out at PowerCon, those beautiful, beautiful bastards at Four Horsemen decided to go ahead and drop some news on us. And we picked up a very, very special distress beacon, and we had to pick it up and we got to check it out. We got, I mean, we all know from
the sweeps.
look, we all know from Alien that if we pick up a distress beacon and we don't go check it out, at least we all lose our shares. And Parker ain't going to have it if we lose our shares. So I'm just going to put that out there, guys. Kudos to everybody who's getting that reference because that first Alien was amazing. So let's bring it up here. Let's talk about this. So this is wave 3 of beautiful cosmic legions. The OxKrewe crash landed their ship on Thraxxon.
It's actually the 4th wave.
Is it the 4th wave? That's the 4th wave?
Mhm.
My bad. I'm a little off. You're right. Right.
We're
'cause-
getting some creatures in there now, I see.
Oh, yes. When they announced this wave and they were showing off all the pictures and they were like, we've got some world building stuff. Here is a critter. So, Eldor, why don't we go into the wave here and start pulling up some of these beautiful, beautiful toys?
Okay, so where do we go there, sir? Is
Oh,
from
just
the other
click
link
that.
there?
Click the link right there with the pre-order. We got to show
Oh,
people
I
where to
see.
buy
Oh,
because we're all
that makes
showing
sense, I
like
suppose.
villains tonight.
All right.
So
Looks like we have it all there.
go click on our little lowland scapeback.
Yeah, low landscape back is the
Now, as I hear it out loud, and I'm not just reading it for myself, I get it. So, you guys know me. I love my critters, and here's this beautiful looking dog thing. And this is like the first, non kind of static critter that we're getting out of legions here, right? To my knowledge, this is the first thing. We haven't had anything like a wolf or a dog specifically from legions.
I mean, it's pretty massive.
Well, it makes sense to have animals in Cosmic Legions because after all, we saw the horses and what have you in Mythic Legions.
It's true, but this isn't quite that same scale, is it? It's a little bit
It's
smaller.
Yes, I would think. Yes, it looks a
it's
little bit
pretty
smaller,
big. I don't know that it's quite as big as a horse, but it's pretty big.
Right.
It's bigger than what it looks like on the screen. That's for sure.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true.
Is that too?
And I mean, that's also why we're kind of looking at that price tag we are. Because, you know, if this were like timber sized with your snake eyes, it certainly wouldn't be costing that kind of price. But I'm absolutely loving. And if you could, Eldor, get us into some of the other pictures so people can get a good look at,
Indeed.
you know, how this guy
Yeah.
looks overall here. I mean,
Nice bit of dial work there in the background.
right. And of course, 1/6 shooter Trevor doing all those gorgeous photography shots. And after they announced this wave, they did set up another display case where they were really, really showing these off while we were at PowerCon.
On that note, before we get too far, because I know Jesse and Oz, right? You both were at the convention. This was a panel, right? Where they revealed these, or was it a separate thing of their own?
This was a special invite only
Right.
after the show event.
Got it.
Yeah. This was day one Friday after the actual convention itself closed. They did their own little live panel kind of thing that not everybody had access to, but man, oh man, I wish I was invited.
Could you give us a sense, Jesse, of like how many? Were there a lot of people
You
in the
weren't
room?
there. I could have sworn you were there. I'm sorry, Oz.
Oh no, it's okay. I wasn't one of the cool kids yet. I'm still getting
It
there.
was ridiculously warm in the room we were in. But yeah, they did it kind of like they do their G-Con in November after Intern for a day and before Legion's Con, where they all the studio, everybody that was at the show was around the room. You had Jeremy and Eric, Jim, and Cornboy up front. And they didn't have a screen, like something, I don't know if there was miscommunication. They didn't have a screen to project the stuff on. So they were live streaming it through their YouTube channel. And then those of us that were able to get in. So those of you who were watching from home or your hotel rooms probably had a much better visual on these things as they were coming up, because there was no screen. So they would unveil one and then there'd be a little laptop up front and Cornboy would kind of pick it up. So you're like 40 feet away looking at a laptop screen, and then they started bringing them up to the table. So it was after they would go back to the back of the room, we got to go look at them.
Got it. Because I was wondering, I was watching the stream and I was wondering, like, why are they showing me a laptop screen that was sort of like right in front of the thing? So that was essentially what you all were meant to look at, I guess.
They were holding that up for us to see.
Okay.
So they went through one by one as they unveiled each one. Joe Vazapola from the studio would bring it up to the table, and again, depending on where you were, so if you were on the front row, you had a great shot, but if you were anywhere else, you know. But it was cool just being in there. Like I said, it was really hot. But getting to walk through and see them, I thought I took a better picture, or I would send it to you, of this guy next to the other ones. This is like a tall lion compared to the figures, because I believe the legs.
Oh, that's perfect.
Don't quote me. Go back and watch the Horseman's wave on this. I believe those limbs are 1.0 scale,
right?
Or compatible. So there's a little extra there, so they're a little taller than a leg would be, and with that head and everything, it's you know, I would compare it to like a slightly taller lion in physical comparison to the other figures.
Yeah, I remember seeing sort of photos of people taking shots of the prototypes standing next to each other, I guess, on the table. Okay, that's helpful. I had no idea how that was happening. I didn't know if it was like a panel or what. I was just watching it from home, and I hope people in the audience maybe at least pulled up the live stream, because it looked pretty good on our end.
I was trying to pull up mine. Mine kept losing connection to the Wi-Fi while I was doing it, so I was like, "It's all right. I'll just stand." I stood against the wall and watched from the side.
Sure, cool.
Well, not to mention the fact that, you know, you could always, as they were doing it, everything was getting, posted to the IG, because that's kind of where I was. I was like looking
Yeah.
at my IG and seeing all the pictures as it was coming out, and I was freaking out to myself because we were trying to find a place to eat that at that point.
Yeah.
But oh man, like the details, again, the fact that they are keeping it part of their system, because it is a system on how they do these pop and swaps. So wanting to make certain parts compatible, even though this is definitely a different style of figure. I mean, it's not your standard style figure standing up bipedal, and it's, again, not quite a horse. So it's really, really cool to see them get in and do some more world building, especially in something like Cosmic Legions, where you're, mythos, although magical, is still kind of grounded and earthly. I mean,
Well, they
Sorry.
have. I mean, to maybe build on that, like it's like literally a giant. It's a lion. There's a giant snake. There's a giant animals that we're kind of familiar with the exception of there's magical creatures. But yeah, this is not something that I've seen walking around.
Right. There's no earthly comparison to this thing whatsoever. So
you must not go to Walmart late at night.
I used to work at Walmart late at night. So
fun fact, I have slept in a couple of different Walmart parking lots and used anyways.
This was the lot lizard that rolled up to you. Anybody knows what that term means?
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
Oh no.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
a
was
Florida
super
thing, right? The geckos in the parking lot.
I want to say while that stream was being revealed, this was like maybe like figure 5 or or 6 that they revealed, and so it was like cool figure, and this totally was a nice smack in the face in terms of just like, oh, completely different form factor, and I think it's great to get these kinds of creatures in Cosmic, like as you're saying.
It was more like cool figure. What the fuck is that?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. This is like another world, kind of like Slog. Actually, Slog and the Spectines, you're kind of like, wow, these are totally different, completely different silhouettes, and then this thing came up, and I just love the sort of you're like, is that rock? Is that what's going on? And I love that they're really pushing the alien thing, right?
Exactly. I like it when we're getting weird little oddities, and the fact that it's a critter. It's not a character itself. It's a critter, and this is kind of one of those things that you would want to maybe army build a little bit, so you could have a pack or a pride, as we're comparing it sort of to a lion.
I get sort of hyena vibes also, a bit of a scavenger maybe.
Right. I mean, it's certainly going to be, I mean, let's face it, it's a must for me. Guys, I'm going to mute here for a sec, just because.
Something a slog
handle it.
Heavenly
He's got a chest burster coming out. But Jesse, when you saw these things, or maybe if folks have paid closer attention to what they were presenting, because I don't remember, you're saying that the legs are like 1.0 legs. Are the front 2 legs, I guess, similar to arms, because they look like they bend up sort of this way? Or
I don't remember exactly. I thought they were saying that they were at least built in the same like scale and compatibility. I don't know, because I mean, it looks like it goes into a shoulder there like a regular arm would. So I could see someone popping those off. The back legs definitely look like it's got a different hip system, but it might. I'm not sure if it'll peg in, but the lower legs look like they would adjoin to other things. So I can't wait to see what some people do. That actually looks really similar to the hip joint on the regular Legions figure. So
yeah, they said that those back legs would plug into a 1.0 figure. You just may run into, depending on what waist piece and stuff you have, I guess the rock formation type thing on the top of the legs would probably cause a problem. So that's where
Yeah.
Eric was saying he didn't know if it would fully fit on a figure, but as far as the the parts where it plugs in is the exact same.
It might fit onto one of your skeleton, maybe mid torso pieces, perhaps. You might have a bit more clearance to work with.
Agreed. Yeah, if you could go back to where it was showing more of that shoulder joint there for a bit, Eldor, on one of the other previous pictures.
One of the things they also mentioned when they were talking about this one is that this is not the only one of this species that's on that planet. So I know there's going to be 2 more books for this wave, and I would say we're probably going to see another type of this creature.
Well, I was going to say, Kirby Smith bringing up exactly that as well, that it opens the floodgates for many critters, especially more scapebacks.
Yeah.
And got to agree, because we can only assume if there's lowland scapebacks, there's got to be highland scapebacks. Probably
they'll be coming down out. They'll be coming down out to the mountains with their kilts.
Or
I just figured they were going to roll around instead of like these quillish appendages. They were going to have,
They can take our gold, but they can never take all the freedom.
I was thinking more like a bit of dreadlocks and a doobie hanging out of that mouth, but
that's the laid back scapeback.
Oh, boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting because we kind of glossed over, and I know that the class is sort of geared more towards folks who are kind of just getting into legions or maybe legions curious, but part of this creature it has to do with the setting, right? So we kind of totally just skip the notion of the story for this particular wave, which is that a crew, the OxKrewe crash lands on this planet. So it's kind of like what's going on this planet, and these are one of the creatures there. So I do wonder, will we get more of this creature from this particular planet? And that whole storyline, just right off the bat, intrigued me because, I know we're exploring different parts of Cosmerrium. We started sort of on a prison station. So that alone had my brain kind of going like, wow, are we going to be going, are we going to be going all over this galaxy, right? And are we going to have waves set in different planets, which is awesome. And yes, there is only one.
There can be only one Highland scapeback.
So just like we have with the horses in Mythic Legions, you can take the horse's neck out, and we adapt a piece in there for plugging your torsos in, and so forth. And I wonder if we might have that with the mid articulation there, options to plug different types of body types in there for the critters and so forth. As we indeed learned about the leg joints there.
Yeah, we'll see sometime next year, I guess.
Yeah.
Or early 25.
I really think this one is one of those that I could see being under ordered, just because it's so unique, so different. But at the same time, like when Trevor's doing these pictures, these things are held together with, whatever, paper clips and glue and whatever. So, it's hard to get really good poses and articulation out of these things. And I think, if I think back to like the first wave that they did with the Sphexians, they told us at the time, hey, like this thing is once this is articulated and ready, people are going to want this like crazy. And they were right. Like as soon as the Sphexians were done and people, saw them, like the finished products and stuff and the poses they could do, they were selling out. Like even the retailers were selling out right and left of the Sphexians. I could see the same thing happen with this. Because initially, like I even look at this and I go, what am I going to do with this thing? Do I want one? If I do get it, do I need multiples? Like what are they going to look like? And I think
at least 2.
Yeah, I think that this is one that once we see like close to or finished products on this one, I think that it's really going to ramp up the interest on it.
Perhaps
You gotta go
a
odd.
saddle pack,
You gotta go
accessory
odd.
pack, maybe. You could have straps and saddle bits to go around it, maybe carry bags, or you might plug weapons into it, perhaps, to accompany the troops, maybe. But
Yeah, and Trevor even commented on there that he, wanted to try to get it running, but it just wouldn't work with the prototype. I just,
Right.
yeah, I think this thing is going to fly off of the retailer shelves pretty quickly when it comes out.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think maybe people might be a bit hesitant of it right now, but I definitely think it's gonna end up really, really blowing the lid off things once people get it in hand.
And, as this is Legion's class, my advice to people getting in, if you're not sure about this one, just order it. Worst case scenario, if you can afford it, I should say.
Right.
If you can
Yes.
afford it, order it, because, worst case scenario, you're going to be able to get the value of what you paid for it on the pre-order and then some. So,
Yeah.
even if you get it and you don't like it, trading it or selling it is not going to be hard.
I was gonna say, yeah, even not, price wise, trade value wise, especially if this thing becomes like a hot commodity, trading within the Legion's community is 100% approved by everybody, because somebody's always got something around that you kind of want. So,
well, a
So-
normal $37 figure goes for like 50 retail. This is 42. So my guess, and I'm just throwing a number out here because I don't know. My guess would be that retail on this is going to be like $55.
that's what I was
interesting,
thinking it would be.
Yeah. So if you buy this for 42, you open it up and for some reason you didn't like it, which I've never had happen with a Legion's figure, but if you open it up and didn't like it, getting your $42 back on this thing is not going to be hard when at retail they're going to be going for, close to 55.
Exactly. Yeah. If you end up getting this thing in your hand and it's not your jam, it's your buttered sausage, toss it out, get rid of it. Yeah. Somebody will pick
and
it
how
up
could you
later.
say no to mouth detail like that? What?
Right?
And that is an articulated
100%.
jaw, which I didn't know at first, but I did hear that on Jeremy's stream that jaw is articulated.
See, I didn't catch that. That's awesome. That's even better. Gotta
He's a
love
Jedi,
all
so,
these. Gotta love that attention to detail that a lot of people are taking note with articulated jaws. All right.
So that opens up a whole new can of worms, indeed.
Oh yes. Now, what did we want to look at next? Because I kind of just went with my favorite from the pack here. So
Yeah, well, before we move on, Jesse, it looked like were you going to say something on that one?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was just
please.
going back to the pricing. I know we'll probably hit this later, but I mean, it's $299 plus shipping and taxes. I didn't do the math breakdown on what the saving is on doing an all-in versus buying them individually.
I think it was right at 37.
Okay, as I can say, it's usually around the cost of a
free
figure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, depending on where you live, you are going to pay shipping, but you're going to pay shipping no matter where you are. But like $300 for this is a really good deal, I think. I mean, you've got, what is it, 4, 5, 6 characters, an accessory set, and a creature. And like you're saying, if you do the all-in, usually all-ins are ready to go and ship out. Usually they ship out the fastest.
Yes.
Right.
So for part of the educational purposes, if you do an all-in, they don't have to like pick your order. All-ins come in their own box. They send them out. If you don't like any of the figures in that, you got one of them basically for free, so you can trade it off. Or you'll the what is it, the Scapeback and Kern Ray, I think, and Orvar. I can't see the prices on all of them. I think
Those are
Scroll down a little bit,
those are
Eldor.
48.
Right you are.
Yeah, scroll down just a little bit here, trying to get the
Okay.
prices of everything. Fortunately, it can all
So-
fit on one screen.
so. Yeah, you've got you're basically getting either the Thraxxon Scout or Uka for free. And then you can trade off, one of the things, even if you only want the guys in the suits or whatever. It's just, there's a lot of ways to do it, and especially if you're in the Mythic or Cosmic Cabal, the way people do trades, you might be able to, like, say someone, oh, I forgot to order the Scapeback, and I can't get them. Like Curtis is saying, if they sell it at retailers, You're like, hey, I've got one. Will you trade me XYZ figure for it?
Right.
Comparable price. So
Yeah.
just
And-
because it's new doesn't mean people won't want it once it's actually out.
Well, and legions are very unique compared to a lot of other lines. Like if I go to the store and I buy a Destro figure and I open it up and I don't like it, I'm not going to be able to get my full retail money back on it.
Nope.
These you do. Like I can take a figure that's a $50 figure, open it up, and I can still sell it for $50 because they're, and especially since the pre-order price is cheaper, you can easily get your money back. So it loose. And that's, a lot of other communities. It's like, if you want to make your money, you better have it. It better not be loose because you're going to be taking a hit if it is.
Yep.
So.
Now, for our friends up in Canada, because as we always like to talk about the discussion with the price here, we know it's a lot more difficult for you guys to come across these, getting them across the border and all like that. There are a lot of different costs that go involved with that. Our good friend Adam, highly articulated, who was stopping by earlier to say hello, remind you to hit that like button, folks. No matter which channel you're on, please hit that like.
Indeed.
He always recommends e-collectibles. And from what I've heard, e-collectibles is definitely one of the best to go through when you're ordering in Canada because he handles a lot of the legwork when it comes to duties and fees and everything like that. So definitely.
You said duties.
I totally said
and plus
I've ordered from them a couple times, and I'm here in Pennsylvania, clearly not in Canada, and it's been super smooth transactions, really nice people to deal with, like direct communication if I had a question, or I think they even reached out to me at one point about something. So, again, it's a smaller company. So, make sure you give these, especially like the indie toy companies and the smaller shops, give them time to respond. They probably don't have an entire horde of people, answering emails 24/7.
Yeah, they got like probably one guy when he has time.
And on top of that, if you're in Canada, my understanding is it's an order over 125. There's flat rate shipping, if not free. I forget. We were just talking about it last night, but
one thing about Jesse was talking about the all-ins typically shipping first too. The only time that they didn't ship first was because there was an issue with the ogres. They're produced at a different factory. Ogres and trolls are produced at a different factory from the other figures. So there's no ogres or trolls in this wave. So my guess is that all of this is going to be produced at the same factory. And with that being said, pretty good chance that the all-ins are going to be out first. So, once again, back to his point, for $2.99, you get all of this stuff and you get it quick. Not a bad deal at all, for sure.
Of course. Yeah. And, with a lot of this wave in particular, too, it seems like there was a lot more new sculpting that they had to do for this wave.
A ton. Yeah.
And Cosmic Legions,
most of it.
Yeah. Cosmic has been pretty consistent across a lot of the tooling. Like you might get like one variant figure, but even this is with the different Sphexians and stuff.
Yeah, this is the first book of a new wave, though. So I kind of expected that. It seemed like with the first wave that they came out, the first book that they came out was obviously all new tooling because Cosmic was brand new, and then the next two waves had a lot of the same stuff, just in different arrangements, different paint schemes, that kind of thing. So when this one was coming out, I fully expected this was going to have a lot of new tooling again, because it's basically a brand new wave or section of Cosmic Legions. It's the next big one, I guess, as you would say. So
the next big bang there.
Yeah.
And whereas the first couple waves were largely based out of the prison, at least the first two books were, and then the Outpost Axios has a crossover of stuff. You had a lot. It's very Tusk heavy with the design. So this is a whole bunch of new suits, new type of armors. Like I like that there's such a variety in the suits, and it's not just everybody's in Stormtrooper armor.
Let's not put down Tusk armor. Okay.
I'm not. No. I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying I wouldn't want the entire cosmic universe to look like Tusk figures.
I would prefer that all Cosmic Legion was just sentries. Get rid of everything else.
Well, based on your buying habits, you've got the world that you want.
On your shelves, you can do that, but everyone else,
Curtis, mission accomplished.
He's starting his empire there. Look out.
I've got a totally random thing. So I'm here unboxing this version of Oleg, and I've noticed this with some of the Cosmics. Has anybody else had a hard time, like struggled with getting some of the pieces out of this plastic? Is it just me?
The Cosmic is way more difficult to unbox than Mythic. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say,
which I think helped me, because then I didn't blow it. I didn't like do it all in one shot, you know, like I took my time and I was able to like open one figure and appreciate it. And then the next day open the next.
You are saving the moment there.
Yes. Because normally when I get a Mythic wave, I open it all at once and then, you know, and then I'm sad. So,
yeah.
Right.
It was that added thing of sort of like, one, it's brand new packaging compared to Mythic Legions, right? After a while, those Legions figures are pretty much coming in the same stuff. And then there's this is kind of taped in. There's the three little, you know.
Yeah, it looks
notches.
great, but it's definitely a lot harder to get out.
Okay, because there's some pieces that I've struggled with, like actually getting out. And
we've had that.
Just wondering if it was just me.
The fact that it's in a box too versus just like our standard card back, I gotta say, like, I really have enjoyed the packaging, I think, a bit more from Cosmics than I do from Mythic. Mythic hits all the notes of my classic going into a toy store and grabbing a toy, whereas Cosmics makes me feel like I'm picking up a collector's piece a little bit more, you know, where you get that big box. So
I appreciate the packaging on like their figure obscura characters. But for like this stuff, honestly, you could put it in a Ziploc bag because all I'm gonna do is throw the shit away anyway. So I mean, that's great. It looks awesome when you pick it up, but all it's doing is going in the trash. And now it's just more stuff going in the trash. So but that's me personally. So
I won't be sorry, my thought got stuck in my head. I really do like the packaging. I'm not keeping everyone. I have at least, if I've gotten any duplicates, I'm not keeping duplicates, but because the character bios are on there, I can cut them off. But at least for now, I'm keeping a lot of them just because the art and the design, like you're saying, it definitely feels more like a collector's item.
Right.
Seeing the Nate Barch art and just the insets, like the inserts for, the different ones.
The
really
inserts
cool.
make cool backgrounds. That's for sure.
They definitely do. I gotta say, Nate really, again, when we get a Mythics, we got like that, just that card, and then that's what you got for the wave. But each one of these feels like you're holding something a little bit different. I just love them. They're so good.
Yeah, I mean, to Jesse's point, each one of these inserts is sort of, not each one is different, but they have sort of different sets of them, right? Depending on who the character is. And I mean, it makes sense because they got to rethink packaging, right? For this, essentially this brand new line. So I appreciate that they kind of put, went a little bit different direction, gave us a little bit more unique art for each figure.
Yeah.
On these boxes a little bit more prominently. We get, this wonderfully nostalgic cross sell in the back.
Ooh.
And I think
we got our checklist again.
As of now, I still have all my boxes. I know. Anyways, but
I'll say,
I've been getting most of mine through Wolf King Customs lately, and so I just messaged Len and I'm like, hey, go ahead and throw away all the. If you want, you can throw away all the shit and just send me the figures. If that saves you on shipping or whatever, like. I don't need all that.
There's an option there.
I definitely like the packaging of Mythics better, just the way I like to collect, because I don't have much space to store boxes anymore.
Yeah.
And,
You're rather boxed in there, indeed.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, the other thing with the Mythics one is like if you break them down, you could have a stack of clamshells and a stack of cards, and they don't take up much room. And then if at some point you want to rebox them, you can just throw them back in there, and you know what I'm saying? Like it, I don't know.
No, I don't know how you can stack the clamshells with.
Say if you're working on your dials, perhaps you have that nice big bit of thin plastic in the window you can pop out and make a window or a computer pad with or something.
Sure.
Hey, so I know again, since we've kind of got the whole like we're talking to maybe folks who are new to it. You were talking about reselling some of these things. What's the sort of practice with putting things back in the packaging? How much do people care? How much does it affect?
Very little.
Resale, yeah.
Very little. Unless I mean, there's been a few where I've looked for a brand new one, mostly because I don't want it to, like, if it's a specific figure that I want to make sure it's got very tight joints and that kind of thing, I'll look for one brand new. But most, especially on older figures or things like that, like if you're looking for one, the value difference between a new one and one that's been displayed is not much difference.
Oh, my bad. I meant if you were specifically going for one that has been taken out, do people care if you have the original packaging with it? Really?
No, not usually. Not usually.
Only
now the way that you ship it, they care about. Like, don't send it in a bubble mail or people will lose their fucking minds.
Right.
So
don't
put it in a box.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely requests, you know, people do. Sometimes they'll put the post, you know, looking for, you know, complete, doesn't need box, or complete with box. Okay. If it had been taken out, you know, just pay attention. Or if you're doing it, you know, like, hey, this was, you know, I opened it, it's repackaged or back in box. You know, I think as far as the communities go, when it comes to like online and it, you know, eBay and all that sort of stuff, you know, I do whatever best practices you would do there. But as far as in the cabals, as long as you're upfront with what it is, what you're asking for, always put your price, or if it's for trade, what you expect value wise in trade, comparable.
And
so
the
don't trade something. Don't trade something at eBay price and expect someone to trade something at convention price just because you saw it at a convention table for $30 instead of 75 on eBay. You know,
those poor souls. But yeah,
well, some might just like the card art, you know, especially the inserts for a bit of a backdrop, or they might cut the cross sales out for a bit of a, you know, personnel read up on the computer screen there, perhaps.
Dork Lair said repacked in a used microwave popcorn bag. that would be bad.
Here it is down at the bottom. It just came through on my end. Sorry, guys.
Oh no!
I'm gonna put it in the chat. But someone's asking when the pre-order ends. It ends on September 17th at 11 p.m. Eastern. So we have just over 2 weeks left. Yeah.
Here it is, folks. I'm gonna bring it up just so everybody is aware and can see. This is one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that this was our next Legions class, because it's important that if you want the cheapest price as far as base cost for a figure, not including your taxes and shipping and everything else, this is the time to do that. And now, sometimes the shipping might be a little bit more expensive. It's certainly not, you know, like a flat rate shipping, getting it to a pile of loot or anything. But, you know, if you want the cheapest base level cost for the figure, this is where you get it. It's even cheaper than when you show up to a convention and buy it. So keep that in mind, folks.
Now, if we could only get more West Coast conventions.
We keep bringing it up to them, Brick, but, you know.
No, I mean, I understand the challenges of it. Last May was amazing up here in Sacramento. So
I'm hoping you guys will get much more.
I think the street team, I'm going to be part of a street team next weekend in Oaks, PA, just outside of Philly, where people, you know, a trusted retailer is given permission to sell at horseman prices at a street team horseman booth. And I think some of that happened at the meetup, if I'm correct.
Yes.
I guess it was that
That
a
is
street
correct.
team there?
Yeah, it was all convention prices.
So I know they're with doing this. They started that last year. At one in Ohio, there was one in Utah and somewhere else. I think all at the same time as the RetroCon weekend was going on last year. They're trying these street teams out in different places. So that's definitely something that
Do you all stand out there with your jackets open with all the mythic legions dangling off them and what have you?
I got them legions you need.
Quote unquote street team. Yeah. It's just non-official representatives of the studio representing the studio.
So just because Jesse said it and it struck a chord of funny with me, I'm putting it in the chat. They'll be all standing there with their hashtag cabals out. Look, we all got the snicker when I said duty. You said balls.
I think it's a good model that they're running with the street teams, because when you think about it, what used to happen is that, you know, the people would place their pre-orders, and then retailers would place their orders, and then horsemen would order extra stuff. And those extras they would use for the shows that they went to, and if they did an in-stock sale. And those in-stock sales, for those who have been around for them, are like a bloodbath. Like you go in, the stuff's gone in like 2 seconds. And like people that already have these figures are just buying more and like loading up.
Yep.
With taking that extra inventory that they have that wasn't pre-ordered by individual customers and now sending them out for these street teams, what happens is you keep introducing more people to the line. And I think that's a really great strategy on their part to get into these other areas. Like Jesse was saying, you go to Ohio, you go to Utah, you send it to California, and you do these, you know, little, you know, meetups. And then, you know, you introduce this to a lot more people, you know, because if you just did an in-stock sale, the only people that are going to get on there are the people that already know about Mythic Legions. And the goal is to try to get people that don't know about Mythic Legions.
Right.
Know?
Right. And again, what I've loved in seeing about the street teams with the, you know, especially with what Brick sent from when he had the Mythic meetup, you know, on his side, is that it reminded me of, you know, I mean, most of us are Star Wars fans here. Did anybody ever go to the Midnight Madnesses for those? And I'm not talking like a GameStop midnight release for some crap like that, but the Midnight Madness that you used to get for waves of Star Wars figures. Those were always a lot of fun. You get people cosplaying, and, you know, people lined up at midnight to grab Star Wars figures. And I'm not talking like the midnight launch of a movie, but just straight up like midnight sci-fi dorks hanging out at a toy store. I've never felt like more at home.
Okay, good night to see all that unfold, you know, with all them going in for their TVs and they're fighting over TVs and such.
I only was a part of one of those, and that was during the sequel era for Star Wars stuff at the Toys R Us by me before it closed.
Yeah.
The only other midnight stuff I really participated in was midnight movies.
Okay. I went to like 3 different Midnight Madnesses, but it was a lot of fun, and those were back in my short-lived toy hunting, Star Wars toys, reliving that right around the time of Revenge of the Sith all the way up to Clone Wars.
Okay.
So just thinking about that and wanting to dive back into some of these other gorgeous looking figures, mention the suits. Anybody here a fan of these suits? Do we want to take a look at those a little bit more here?
I like all the suits, but Orvar is my favorite.
All right, let's go jump in on the dwarf.
And we say dwarf, but he's actually very large. You know, standing next to like a regular like Mythic Legion, he's not smaller than that.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that the suits. Okay, so like you were saying, when we come to Tusk, those suits are kind of like lean in my opinion.
Mhm.
You know, they're very lean, very kind of form fit for the body type that they're on. I like that the OxKrewe has these bulky looking spacesuits.
hmm
I absolutely love that
Mhm.
about them.
A bit of a Bumblebee tribute if you're so inclined. A bit of a robot head on there.
Yeah, I like that. You know, the Tusk. I mean, they're military. They're guards. They're, you know, they're very sleek. They're you know, meant to be very action oriented. You know, I think, and where these are more your, deep sea fisherman, ice road trucker, you know, construction worker type crew, like whatever their mission is, it's all about function and utility. And I'm sure these suits like help enhance, you know, their. I'm not going to full out and call it an Iron Man suit, but I'm assuming it's got things that would help them function either in space or on the other planets, you know, to do the jobs they need to get done. And just
Right.
That chunkiness is really fun. I think if you get these, you get a couple of the regular, 1.0 or 2.0 figures that have like less of the suit look to them. You could easily, have a casual out of suit OxKrewe, if like they're lounging around and they're like tank
On the
tops
ship.
or,
Right.
yeah, when they're not doing the work. And I just noticed the OxKrewe logo on his knee. I had not seen that before.
It's nice when we can the zoom on the Store Horseman website. When you go over the pictures, you can just see so much more detail. It's really, really magnificent. And again, it's like this guy looks like he's got a gun. That's like an impact wrench, kind of thing. Like you see a little hose hooked up to the back, like, I mean,
and they said like all those like trinkets on the belt will be able to be pulled off as well.
Yeah,
that's all modular too. So
yep.
Curtis is taking off the belt.
Ooh.
Not the belt itself, but the little grenades or whatever. So,
that's all using that one peg attachment, right?
No, this is a little bit different. This isn't like what the weapons we're plugging into. This is actually like little trinkets on the belt that they're starting to make modular. So I don't know, they may end up being the same size, but it's not using like those clear pegs that came with the weapons on the book one.
Oh, you got it. Not using the pegs, but it may be the same peg size.
It may be the same size. Don't know. They just said
it.
they want to make them to where they're removable now. So
can we see the holes maybe underneath? No, I guess the belt.
No, they didn't have them pulled out of any of them. So.
No, they were all full.
Yeah.
But I think the holes on the backpack are this. I mean, I think that's the same backpack that Vorga has.
Yeah,
those. And it's got the hose plugged in. So I think they're trying. And again, for folks who are new, these are 3D printed like resin prototypes. So the real figure is going to look a lot better. So these are always, the prototypes are always slightly larger than the final product. It's not like a full 2-up, or whatever they're called. But just because the way the print and everything, when they do the tooling and the injection molding, it slims down a little bit each piece. So
I think I laughed. Sorry, Jesse, because you're like, it's gonna look better. I was like, Jesus, this thing looks amazing, but it's hilarious when
because
I hear that.
All the parts, like they fit and they look good. And if you didn't know,
sure,
it's just hearing them talk about it a couple times, like. Because it's the 3D part, they don't quite snap. They don't fit as snug as they should. So these things are going to look even better when their production, finally comes through. Like Curtis was saying about the Sphexians earlier. Like, I think these things are going to blow people's minds again.
Right. Yeah. As if Cosmic Legions wasn't already doing that enough. Like it took everything that we've loved from what they've given us with Mythic Legions already and completely turned it on its head.
Right.
Well, look at this guy. This is him watching the reveal of Cosmic One. Like his head is literally.
His mind is looking rather blown there.
Yeah. I was going to say, I love Rick Jones's comment right here. Universal's Metaluna mutant mated with Greedo's Rodian.
Yep.
And yeah, man, that's what we've got here. But this is gorgeous looking because of that. And I love that. Again, this hits all those check marks for me too. Like,
this is the first picture that we saw in the reveal, and I didn't like it. Like, I was like, I don't know about this. Then I saw the other head. The other head for me sells me, and that's why this is my favorite figure, is because of the other head. And if you go to now that's the one that they showed, but if you go over
for you,
the angry one, he's got like these puffed out cheeks that are like swelling up with whatever. I don't know what's going on, and then the teeth showing. Like that one for me does it. Like I'm like,
alien
okay,
glands.
I'm sold.
I'm telling you, those glands.
You might say.
I'm gonna say it every time I get to talk about this character. They're going to be like when you're boiling like marinara sauce on the stove, and it's just like those things are just sputtering out when he's getting angry.
I can imagine a movie makeup person doing this in live action.
I'm just imagining that it's filling up with some sort of like venom or something that he's gonna spit out or something. I don't know.
Piss and vinegar.
Yeah,
and it's beautiful too, because when you go to the other one and you look, you don't even notice they're there.
Yeah,
so
he's not angry yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's this. They're really showing off again that alien portion of this. Like, you know,
he's agreed before he's got angry there.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We humans are sort of reading maybe a little too into this. We're assuming that that's an angry face. I actually think he's aroused. So
yeah, go back down. That's his.
I mean, it's the same face.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
He's completely and totally aroused and ready to blow.
I just that face for me, like I said, when I saw the first one, I was like, I don't know about this figure. And then I saw this one, I'm like, okay, yep, this is my favorite. So,
yes, he's showing a slightly different tint of color there.
Well, it's like those, those like little stress balls, those little soft. When you squeeze it, they're like solid color. But when you squeeze it, like the color strains. That's what that's like. Well, listen,
that's what I'd be doing.
You just described that face as he is described as ornery, nail tempered. His personality is well suited his role as the demolition and discovery specialist. So I mean,
for all we know, that's his
smash.
Sorry. Anyways,
also, did notice if you look at those hands too, like he has 3 fingers and a thumb, which is unique because like we've got like in the first few waves of Cosmic Legion, we've got some like total 3-finger alien, like 2 fingers and a thumb. And then we've got typical,
I believe that's called the Kurt Wagner.
Okay. So we've got the 3-finger, and now with Ovar, now we've got a 4-fingered hand. So, or 3 fingers.
Okay,
so
so you've got your general X-Men, then you've got the Kurt Wagner, and now we've got the long shot.
Yes.
There we go. Perfect. I love it. And we broke it down.
Shout out Art Adams.
Marvelously.
If I could check out Trevor's comment that's still up there.
That's why I was leaving it.
That I did one of these because 2 things. Like I love modularity. It's the Lego thing. It's also what I love about this line. This new use of those pegs is it's very Micronauts, which is like my jam back in the day.
Or Centurions.
Sure, yeah, and Centurions, and without the breaking clips, but like,
right.
But the idea that they've landed on like, okay, these are standard pieces that we're going to see everywhere, that we can kind of move things around, and it gives customizers and folks who create custom parts all sorts of like possibilities, right? I mean, like, again, sorry, I'm on the Micronauts tip, but you could do gliders, you could do all sorts of stuff, right? Like, anyways, I love that the clips are going to be that standard piece, like right around here and here. So good stuff.
So these look like those little detachable modular parts off the belt there, going by those little peg holes in the backs there.
And that's exactly what I was thinking here too, especially with, again, somebody who's a demolitions guy. Like, he's got to have all different kinds of little hey, he's a demolitions expert. He's about to blow. Bits and bobs as you would, yes.
Yeah.
But you know, like little mines and stuff that are going to attach to it, and I like that we are getting, you know, just a look to see of, hey, yeah, this is different stuff you can use. And again, you know, the mentioning of customizers going wild with the armor and mech's pressure suit things, and I agree, like these working man's armor versus like a militant armor or suit rather, it's great. It's really, really great to see something that, you know, this is a little bit more my sci-fi pace. Like, you know, it's kind of like that frontier, you know, not to quote Star Trek too much. You know, Star Trek's great. Live long and prosper.
You go right on quoting
But-
general orders there, sir.
Hey, everything seemed a little too crisp and clean in Star Trek. I kind of like a Firefly universe, or, you know, I was talking Alien before this, where we had like, you know, truckers in space basically.
Well, until you cross past the Orion Syndicate, of course, things tend to get a bit rougher.
Oh. Shots fired from 1-6 shooter.
That's a recurring theme.
Good to know. Good to know.
Oh man, what was I going to say? One of the things I appreciate about the significant change in the overall look of the suits and, you know, kind of the aesthetic in this wave is that, and I'm not trying to open up a whole, I don't want to do a whole discourse on DC specifically movies, but I felt like looking at all the heroes in the Justice League movie, Batman, Super, like just that era of movies that we've had recently, it looked like all the costumes were designed by the same person, which, you know, for the movie they were, but it felt like they were all designed by, you know, Edna Mode in Incredibles. Like, you know, everybody's wearing the same design, just whatever their colors is. Like this, I like that it's such a different profile. Yeah, it's got a similar vibe with the way the dome works, but they're different, the different shapes. And, you know, I just can't wait to see the more, and how we didn't get to them yet, but the Thraxxions themselves have more, you know, they're more primitive, they're more nature based or environmental based with their culture and everything. And I just think that's really interesting. I really love that ties into Cosmic, because I think you can do whatever you want with Mythics. I think you can go, other than the techie bits of these suits, I think you can go as weird with the designs if you want to in fantasy.
There we go.
Because as much as I love Tolkien, like Tolkien's world is very limited, very realistic,
right?
Quote unquote. But I think depending on the imagination, you can do whatever you want in fantasy settings.
Did someone say Tolkien? Oh, sit down there, Gandalf.
Okay, little vent on my part. I hate the fucking domes. I hate them. I'm not I appreciate the fact that we can remove them, because then it allows somebody like me that doesn't like them to take them off, and the people that do like them can have them. But they're terrible, at least for me. Maybe I'm just a shitty photographer. Maybe Trevor can yell at me. But like, when you go to do any sort of photography, it reflects everything. If you try to do any lighting, it shoots the light off the bubble. It on Slog, especially that frosted one, it covers up his face. Like, I'm just very anti-bubble. I would rather have all of mine without the bubbles and be able to see the sculpt and everything that's underneath, personally.
That's funny. You said that just as I was sitting here admiring the bubble on this figure I just unboxed. Damn.
So yes, I just spied one of those plug pieces where you obviously push one of those modular accessories onto there. So yes.
Oh, okay.
I really, you know, again, you were saying you're not a big fan of the bubbles. For me, it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm so used to bubbles in spacesuits that I like that we have different designs of the bubbles. I like that we have the different spacesuits. They're different manufacturers, you know, which is a thing that actually happens, to get back to what Jesse was saying about this. You know, Although I will say this bubble here does reminisce of something I got out of a gumball machine, but that's cool because I used to use that as a bubble on a lot of toys back then too. So
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
know,
the bubble to me is like the packaging we were talking about. It's nice that they include it, but I'm probably just going to throw it away. So,
really,
yeah.
do me a favor, throw it into a container and then mail it to this address.
right,
So
right. Don't be throwing away good parts now.
I was just gonna say what I really, and I think, forgive me if it didn't register then, but as far as like the three sort of like suited folks in this wave, each one is unique and different, right? But particularly with this one, I love, especially if you go back to the last shot of sort of the 3/4 from behind,
Mhm.
the silhouette of this thing is just so cool looking, just like Slog, right? I love the like massive top and like those legs, those mech looking
He's very
legs.
stocky.
Yeah,
Right.
and what is it? Is it digitigrade the legs? Is that what you call that?
Yeah, digital.
Yeah.
Right, bending backwards.
I love that. Right, again, the variety that they're going to. It's not like this. I don't know how this became the weird pot shots at Star Trek stream, but like for the longest time they were all like humans with makeup on with the exact same sort of biology and shape, and I love that in this line we saw that alien creature on its 4 legs. We've seen this thing. We've got ones with like 4 arms. We got the Sphexians, and I just love the, like, even just squinting my eyes and looking at the variety of silhouette is awesome. For
Yeah, I mean, this was
he's
the.
giving that. He's
Go
giving that Brawn a silhouette from the Bumblebee Transformers movie. He had kind of that big shell above his head there and what have you.
You got Bape Warmers on the brain today, Eldor.
They
Oh, I
did
know.
like this was they did a part of this as the teaser photo for this wave before they had revealed anything.
Yep.
And I think just from the scale of this guy or the chunkiness of this guy, I think a lot of people were thinking it was using that Slog body. And then you come out and find out that this is a totally different scale from that. It's actually, more of a 1.0 chunky sized characters, but I do like what you're saying as far as the silhouette, as far as just the overall dimensions of this guy. He is just very stocky and cool looking.
Gotta like them thick around here.
I mean, that's
Well, I'm trying to look. It's, you can't do it at the same time on the screen, but I'm looking at Ularia's spear and Ovar's legs, like the lower legs, and it's the same design, but like pieces have been removed to make his squatter. So like where that kind of screw is right above the ankle on her leg, there's like the rings going up almost like a not a hose, but like I can't think, but like above that ankle on her leg, whereas his, they're completely gone. It goes right into that orange and brown metal, whereas hers, she's got like a dark gray black space where her leg is going up, so it stretches it out. And so they are definitely unique, and I think his arms are longer. His forearms are definitely longer than hers.
Yeah, Kirby said his hands go down below his knees.
Right.
So I mean, if you were making a space gorilla, this would be the way to do it. Like, you just take this suit, throw a gorilla head in there, and there you go.
Oh, a bit of an Ewok head in there, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Throw Gorilla Grodd's head on there, or King Kong NECA head, and there you go.
Well, upcoming monkey skull.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or Sun Wukong found himself in the wrong century there.
Yeah, his head might look a little small in this one. I'm not sure.
Cool. What other figures we got in this wave?
I was gonna say
What
we
else
got a
is
couple
gonna
other suits
take my
to
money?
look at.
Ooh.
So
I will say a cool thing we haven't mentioned yet, the spacesuits, and I know it's a joke to a lot of people on McFarlane figures, but because of the way the suits are built, the OxKrewe characters, at least the ones we have so far, all have toe kick.
Ooh.
nice.
Have what?
Isn't that the word? Isn't it toe kick?
Toe kick. Yeah. Yeah, the McFarlane toe kick. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But because it's part of the suit, it so you can
the toes.
if you pose them walking, you can have it to where and they're such big chunky feet.
Chunky feet.
Yeah, McFarlane calls that adding some sex to the figure. So
I totally had my brain in a different place. I thought you were referring to like the diapers that a lot of McFarlanes have. And so when you said toe something, I was like, no, that's not the right word, Jesse. But then...
toe pick.
All right.
Do we want to look at the Scout? That was the first figure that they showed.
I was gonna say, yeah, we should go look at some Thraxxon here.
I love this guy.
Oh,
Right?
listen, people.
We mentioned like Star Trek again. Like to me, this was actually that's the first thing that sort of it yelled at me in a good way. Like, oh, this is like something from maybe a newer Trek. But
like
obviously
old
not. It's totally a thing. Awesome looking.
It's a lizard, people.
I think this is one of the few figures in this wave that is reusing heavily.
Oh.
Right? Yeah, parts. That body, isn't that Oleg's torso?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it has ab crunch now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Or at least an articulation in the ab, which is new for a 1.0
I remember them
figure.
talking about that. What's up with that? Is that potentially how 1.0 will be moving forward?
They said they're testing it.
Yeah.
To see how it works. So if it works well, we may see it in more figures down the road.
Oh yes.
And again, I guess these are all like prototypes, so we don't exactly know how they work or move yet, right?
Yeah, so that torso, I imagine if anyone has a 2.0 Mythic Legion, like the female or the goblin torsos where it's like at the upper armor over the abs, like I imagine the fit will look more snug and more clean like that than this being the prototype where it's not the pop fit that the injected molding will have. Or injected plastic, rather.
Or even maybe like Ziri. Is it Ziri?
Yes, yeah, she's yep. Sorry, I forgot. She has the upper torso as well.
So I want to get an extra one of this figure just to use the armor pieces for my Faunus in Mythic Legion.
Okay.
Like all of these like wood looking gauntlets and leg pieces and belt and pauldrons. Like I want all of that for my Faunus.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that because I was just going to
realize what these are.
They're like the plates that are on the skate
that's skate back hide.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. See, to me, it looks like
it's got
wood.
the
It looks like pieces of a tree or something, like bark.
Oh yeah.
When I first saw it, I thought so too, and I thought like the horns were like worked into it. But yeah, that's definitely like the skinned hide of a version of one of the skate bags.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just want to take a set of this armor, do some brown dry brushing, and throw it on my Faunus, or some other Xylonus flock characters.
Well, and especially if you got in there with some dry brushing too, say it's some dark undertones and lighter tones on it, would definitely give it that wood look. And
that's one of the things a lot of people have said about this figure is like the weapon, the skirt piece, the armor. Like this has very much a Mythic vibe, and I can see a lot of customizers using these parts within Mythic.
Well, I'm looking at it too, just the overall body shape. Like you want to make like some kind of reptilian Mythic Legions characters. This is a very good body for that.
Or demons.
Demons, definitely demons. Oh man, yeah.
Like, can you imagine like an Zazar with like this scaly skin instead of just the regular torso?
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, now you're really.
Or what is Arakagor, the Dragonborn?
Right.
Yeah.
Dragaseer.
He's a Dragaseer.
Dragaseer, yeah.
Like little baby ones.
He needs,
Oh, I love that head.
I was gonna say he needs a little mini me, which means
this is a squinty eye look. This is
right.
Again, that's
the stand in his face. Yeah,
absolutely love that.
one of the things I want to do, I want to see one of these with the Sphexian wings on its back.
Oh man.
Mhm.
Like somewhere between, an insect and lizard type thing.
Again,
Or
bone
Like
club
a
there.
Geonosian there from the old Star Wars, perhaps.
Oh
yeah. I could see, you throw those wings on there and you could have some, since Poxus has, I know we're talking Cosmo,
man.
but since Poxus has that kind of plague in the plague
Right.
sayer bow, like I believe like unleashes like swarms of stuff, like, if he had a couple henchmen or whatever.
I'm with you, Jesse. I feel that all the way.
Yeah, this is so great. Again, this just accentuates the notion of having a system that works between these different lines, and it's just the possibilities are awesome.
I also
Again, I'm a
wanna
Lego
live.
person. That's what I loved about Lego and Lego minifigs, and just
Mhm.
being able to mix everything
Well-
and just do whatever.
Can you go to the parts picture there, Eldor?
Oh, of
Yep.
course. Here we
So
are.
this is one of the two $37 figures in the wave. So that's the basic name. That's usually the named character or like a more
Right.
deluxe builder. So it comes with two different heads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of hands.
Yeah, it's like got a whole
Two-
hands bag with it.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say this
just
is
like-
pretty much Super 7 level hands.
Yeah, and that's the
Plays into your
same-
stop motion too, of course. You get various motions
Sure.
of the hands there.
And I believe they have the different articulation points in the wrist. Some are vertical, some are perpendicular.
Or this one,
you know,
looks
Right.
that
Like
vertical
those
one.
had that vertical one. Right?
Yeah. So these are essentially, I think, repainted versions of like the Thygar, the grave ring hands, where he's
Okay.
the one that Brick's playing with.
Hmm.
So 6 sets of hands, the 2 weapons, which I
Yep.
believe the staff, the bone top of the staff with the jaw piece or whatever, I believe that detaches right there at the kind of knot work.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Those are not
like-
the
So,
Thygr hands, just so you know, Jesse. The
what?
Thygr hands only have 3 fingers.
Oh, you're right.
This,
You're right.
This has
My
a full
bad.
set of 5.
Yeah.
So
Also, with what you're saying, if that
Long shot,
detaches
Nightcrawler.
right at the knot work too, like, and if it can work with other spear tips or staff toppers
Mhm.
that we've seen within here, again, just that much more customizing options. Wow, I am
Yeah.
so
or
much
even
more
if
impressed
one
with
of these
this.
ends might come off the handle there, and you have a smaller weapon.
Yeah,
there
you
with
could
that.
put that jaw piece on the one mace, so, the very straight standard manufactured mace bit from a Mythic Legion, or one of the more elongated metallics, lances or halberds or something. They could swap parts around, which again, like you were saying, the interchangeability on this stuff is great. And this is it is a builder type figure, but it's not like the basic builder price. But like for $37,
Yeah, you're getting
There's
a
what you
lot,
get
a
in
lot
this,
here.
Yeah.
the detail on this, again, I'm not trying to like poop on other companies, but if I'm just saying you're getting, because that's what we started this whole class about. The first thing was the price, and trying to help people understand what you get for it, the value of it, the amount of articulation, the amount of detail. Like, we can't see it in these pictures, but the bottom of the feet are sculpted. It's not just like that impressed foot. It's going to have, I don't know if you can pull if you're Thygar, I think it might be I'm pretty sure it's a different foot too, now that Curtis reminded me of that. Because I think Thygar only has like 2 or 3 toes, but
yeah, he's got 3.
the bottom of his foot should have detailing on it.
Yeah,
Well, he might
It's
have
not
4.
just a flat.
I think he's got 4 because he's got a.
I'd
got a-
grab mine, but I'd knock stuff over.
Yeah,
Oh,
mine's
yes.
right next to me. Yeah, he's got 4 toes because there's 2 that are really small next to each other at the end.
That's right.
So,
But the bottom of the feet are detailed, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
always are when it
So-
comes to legions.
Yeah, pretty much the only ones that aren't are like the original boots from
Right.
like the very first Mythic wave. Maybe some other things here and there, but they
And now that I look at his hands have 4 fingers. Because it's
okay.
got the 2 together at the end. So yeah, so this has got well, it's 3 fingers and a thumb. So, but this is 4 fingers and a thumb.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
Yeah,
And
you
then in the
mentioned
bio, sorry, go ahead, Brick.
No, I was just gonna say you mentioned the feet earlier in terms of the detail. That's the one thing that I've been loving about these is sort of like what the sort of armored boots look like underneath. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
those
they
are really
never
cool,
skimp.
especially where they put that the peg hole. It kind of looks like a little jet kind of thing, and then
yeah, the
Yep.
feet feel good against your lips too.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. How do those bubbles feel, Curtis? But and then there's
Right?
Good.
these, just details abound.
Curtis
Awesome
getting
stuff.
some plastic toes.
Yeah, it's
So,
I
did you
like-
talk about his staff yet? Sorry, I kind of zoned out
Yes.
a little bit in terms
did.
of what the biology is of that thing at the end.
I don't. I'd have to pull up. Hold on. What you
I was
keep
wondering
at
if
there,
that was
I'm
like
gonna-
a jawbone or something from the.
It does not look
Skate back.
like it would be the correct size to be a skate back jaw.
Not a skate back
Okay.
at all, which again helps me think that we're going to see maybe something in more of a mount size.
There's always a bigger fish, you might say.
Yeah.
Gonna need a
I mean,
bigger
it might
boat.
be a larger skate back, but I'm just looking at it. Can you scroll down a little bit? Let me see the top of where it connects. I mean, it's possible it could be a related type thing, just because I'm looking at a skate back ad on my
Maybe
page.
it's a Highland skate
Just
back.
wondering, given their
Yeah.
the armor and everything. Very cool. Still cool
Yeah,
looking.
I mean, it could be because the jaw on top of the face, it has those like 5 or 6 teeth that are coming off under the eyes that the top of that spear could be connected to.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
But
Good
it
stuff.
doesn't. Yeah,
I love the
like
sort
in
of built-in storytelling in the sculpts too. I love when they do that.
yeah, and I know they said because originally the whole Mythic Legion line, the whole concept was it was going to be mostly Legion builders. You were supposed to buy multiple,
Right.
pop swap, do whatever you want. So the story was always there with Mythic, but it wasn't as intentionally planned. Whereas with Cosmic, it's all story driven. Even the way they present the characters, they started off with this, and then you got into the crew, and they wrecked, and you get into the whole story as they go. And in his story or their story for this particular figure, it talks about, I think, hunters and elders as well.
Right.
Elders to hunters down to scouts. So I think we're going to see at least 2 other forms of Thraxxions at least over the next 2 waves. That's just my guess based on that.
Right.
We'll get some sort of elder, shaman, tribal leader, and then hunters, which I'm assuming would have more maybe like bow, or I know it's a very simple weapon, but I would love to see some addles show up, whether in Cosmic or Mythic. That would be awesome.
That would be really cool.
What is it? An addle?
An addle. Those I can't remember what they're called. They're like the little arms you get that have the little scoop at the end that you can use to like fling a tennis ball for your dog.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of the most original primitive weapons. It's like that, but it's basic. They would chuck short spears.
Oh, okay.
So they would basically kind of hook it. And if you ever saw the movie The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
The Grendel, the creatures that are attacking them, that's what they're throwing at the hall and everything at the end of the movie.
Very cool.
I just think that would be a really cool primitive weapon to see.
No, I totally agree with you. And the idea that we can get stuff like that from a company who wants to do something that you just haven't seen a billion times. Like they have figures where it's like, okay, this is your knight in armor. And mind you, there is uniqueness to the armor. There are unique details and stuff like that. But we all know what a knight looks like. We know what Templars look like. But then they can go and do and give you something so completely unique as what we're looking at here too. It's like they have the possibility to do something unique, such as a very low-tech primitive weapon like that you wouldn't normally see.
Do we know if that loin piece is soft good or if that's
It looked
like
hard
molded
rubber to
plastic?
me, so it looked more stiff and formed a molded
That
rubber.
would have been my initial guess, but they've been doing a lot of soft goods lately.
I
so
was gonna say,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I'm imagining the piece they had on there. If Trevor's still watching, he can probably tell us.
I was about to
Oh, yeah.
say, if Trevor's still here, he can let us
I'd
know.
assume that piece is probably 3D printed.
Mm.
But like you said, I mean, I don't know, like, because it could be hide, it could be very coarse, like kind of, it almost looks burlappy right here.
Yeah.
So if they could find a way to do soft goods, you know, like a burlap type material there, I think that would be really cool. You know, it might be one of those things that when they get to it, but this definitely looks like a printed piece.
Is that like a
in the
skull
pictures.
in the back of his belt there? Like right there? What is that?
I think it's a hip piece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
I
quite
think-
a belt. Right.
I thought it was like
I
a
was
base
thinking like
there.
it was the pelvis or something.
Yeah, it feels like
Pelvic bone.
yeah,
Yes, it looks that
or
way.
like back plate on
The front though looks more skull-like.
Yeah, let's see if we can see what the back of a skate bag looks like.
Nerds.
But you know, most of the Legion builders, like your dwarves, and that they have a more a molded type loincloth piece. It's not necessarily soft goods and what have you.
Yeah, I think this is molded.
knows, really?
When you looked at the backside, it definitely looked like it was molded.
It would be cool if they did like the Xylarnian Guard and gave you the option to have but like having like a burlap in that scale would be very, or you know, something that rough textured in that scale would be tricky. But if anyone can do it, C. Jessam team can.
Yes. If there's one thing that they have done, it's prove that when it comes to soft goods, it doesn't really get much better.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, I will say I have never personally experienced anything better.
Oh.
Hold that back up there, Bert.
Oh man, I freaking love.
That is one of
these
my
soft
all-time
goods.
favorite cloaks ever. The way the hood's done, everything about it. Like, it makes me wish that was Dubon's cloak and we could have gotten a non-hooded head.
Well, speaking of soft goods, if I could recommend going to my personal favorite from the wave.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I believe yesterday, or was it this morning?
So good.
The Source Horseman put up the full detailed entry for this character in the series of blog entries they've been doing this week.
That's something that we should actually mention, is they have been posting those regularly to help flesh out the story of this crew a little bit more. So definitely go check those out. Jesse, do you have a link for that? Because it's just on their
I'll find it.
IG, but let's grab it for people.
If you just go to sourcehorseman.com, it's right under the gray banner for this. From the blog. So let's see, where's I can never let's see.
So while Jesse is grabbing that, he's gonna drop that he's going to drop it, I guess, in private chat would be best, I think.
Oh, whoops. I put it it in the chat.
No, that works. I'll just go ahead and pop it up here so you can see that. Everybody, sourcehorseman.com, which is something that we always refer everybody to go to, because that'll get you all the knowledge that we're trying to give you in better detail. Like, we just try to give you an overview, but if you really want to get all the information, please, like when we had finals, it was open book for a reason, folks. You know, all the materials are right there at the Source Horseman, but this one specifically has been giving you a lot of the updates on the crew.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that /updates/blog is the full. Maybe I'm missing it on the site, but I don't see just a link on the pages to go to the blog post. It might just be up. If you just go to the updates on the menu, it's the same thing. But yeah, Kern Ray. This character, I personally, it was one of I think the last one they revealed. And when I saw Joe walking past with it, I just caught a little bit of it, and I was like, "What is that?" And then I saw some people on their phones seeing pictures I couldn't see on the laptop. And if you can zoom in on that coat, just the stitching on is weird talking about stitching on clothes. Like I know anything about stitching on clothes, but on toys, just to get that small, that it feels like the right scale and the texture and everything on it. I believe it's going to be wired in places. Like almost all of CJSM stuff is wired to some extent on the Legion's lines. Just really cool. And then it's got the soft goods skirt piece around the waist.
Pockets there.
Yep. I mean, they're stitched in pockets. I believe someone was saying that they even had like, you know, kind of like the Levi's tag somewhere where it was like a little piece. I don't know if it's on the inside of the coat with like cosmic lettering on it.
Probably can pick it up in one of the other photos, but just again, like you're saying, stitching alone here, that kind of detail on a figure. Now, mind you, we're talking, you know, that kind of scale where you can see a lot more of these details. You know, it's not your 3.75 here, folks. So, I mean, I'm loving the whole, like all these different hoses and everything like that. I'm definitely digging the lone wanderer aspect of this. Like,
the bandolier there with all his little shell casings in there.
right. Like I'm feeling Fallout with this. You know, if anybody's a big fan of the Fallout games, like I feel like this guy rolled right out of Bethesda Studios and rolled straight from the wasteland, which is kind of what we're supposed to feel here with this guy.
Yeah, it's hard not to do that, sort of comparing with other things we're familiar with. And, you know, same like a lot of people I know are commenting like, oh, this looks like a probot or a probe droid from the head, particularly like from Star Wars, but also like, I don't know if anybody here's doing the whole like deep Star Wars current canon, but the High Republic was going up against this character, Martian Rowe, who was very much like this, like the big cloth coats with the cool helmet. And so I got a lot of those vibes, and I love it. And I love that they then, during the reveal of this whole wave, when they showed the reveal of this figure, which we'll get to, I'm sure. It's amazing, right? Like he is like, oh man, I need two of these, like one to display with everything on and one to display with it off, and
with a bit more minimalist.
To think of like all.
So when I first saw Jeremy Gerard showing this up on his reveal there, spied the helmet first off, I thought, oh yes, that make good for a bit of a Triclops tribute custom there, just the headpiece alone, get a bit of green on there, and
maybe that'll be a future homage that we can look forward to. Why don't you go over to the next picture of this particular character so we can start showing that difference?
Boom.
The mask is off.
Love that, Dad. Woo.
Just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Almost Navi vibes there from the what's that one? The Avatar.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you can feel that sense.
We got Bayformers, prequels, and Avatar tonight.
When they showed the first picture, and then the price tag, the $42 price tag, I was like, I don't know if, like, for me, that this is a $42 figure. And then they showed this picture, and I was like, this is definitely a $42 figure.
Right, because you
So,
did not
I mean,
expect
just
this.
like two totally completely different looks. And then we've talked about this on Offworld, but the parts on here from a customizing standpoint, like those leather boots, we've never had just strictly straight leather
No.
boots in Legions, Mythic or Cosmic. So
Okay.
that piece right there alone is gold. And then as you scroll up, like she has, that soft goods stuff there. Then she's got the wrist wraps, which are with Varg, and we haven't gotten those with another character yet. And Varg is like a $48 figure. Well, on pre-order, I think now he's like 56 or something. And then you go even further, and you got this unique neck piece, and you've got these unique pauldrons. So there's just like so much in here from a customizing standpoint. Like, I mean, it's a great figure in and of itself. But then if you wanted to piece this out, it's got all kinds of great fodder that you could use for other figures.
And again, this is
steampunk there.
Oh yeah,
very steampunk. And this is just, again, we're just still looking at one side. We haven't even rotated around this figure because, again, like there is just so much to it here. Like, again, backpack with all kinds of little add-ons and pieces, which we've seen the backpack, before. It's similar, but
is that Vorgus?
Yeah.
Well, look at that layering work there in the sleeve. Oh.
Yeah, that's great, man. And some Corellian stripe.
I want to see what the back of the jacket looks like, because clearly the backpack and the pauldrons plug into the back. So I'm curious
like
if there's just holes in it, which is fine. Or if they've got like flaps that like an overlap that can,
so you can close it.
Yeah.
But
either way, it's really cool. She is, I believe, her and they introduced the new price point. That 42 is a new price because there's so much work on the soft goods for her.
It's her and the skate back are the $42 figures.
Because they're kind of a new.
It's a lot of new tooling to be done. A whole new design and engineering for the skate back alone.
Before you move away from this shot, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say her upper thighs, probably the hips, the hands, and the upper arms, and the bracers. And maybe the actual, like the throat, like the actual physical neck piece, I think are the only recurring parts.
Right.
As far as the figure, not the accessories, just the character itself. And the shoes.
Right.
And she's 1.0, so she's like Vorga. She's a bigger, more muscular female figure, and I really like that, and I cannot wait to get that in Mythics.
Dude, are we still calling it 1.0 for those two, or is this like a 1.0?
It's 1.0. 1.0 is the scale. It's the scale, because those are the same upper thighs the same thighs as Valak and Bardrick. The upper arms are new. They're Vorga, I think, had them the first time, but they're all that 1.0 scale. So she'll stand as tall as your knights. In Mythic Legions.
Right.
So I just wanted to point out at the bottom of both her sort of like draping loincloth thing and the skirt thing and that trench coat. I love the sort of weathering look, right? That the tonal shift, right? From the gray to that like muddy. Man, that's some good stuff right there.
Phenomenal.
It's like Strider's coat from the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes, very much so. And anybody who's worn any kind of a long trench coat or duster, and who's taken that around a dirt road or anywhere, that's exactly how it is. Like it gets dusty and dirty at the bottom, but that's how it's supposed to be. And then you end up with what they call a swagman's coat, where they rip off the bottom portions of it and it hangs a little shorter.
It's great. It's such a great figure. Yeah, so far I was trying to figure out what am I going to do in this wave, but I'm just like, yeah, I think this is
Now
kind of
it's
an
going to be
all-in
another
wave.
all in.
I mean, for $299, I could see having to make
Yeah.
choices if it's like, you know, $500-$600 wave, but for $299,
Yeah.
I just don't know how you don't get the all in. It's too good. And then we haven't even looked at the little accessory thing yet.
Right. Because she's a little heavy when it comes to the accessories here, you know?
Oh, I meant like the $25.
Oh, yeah.
Kit.
Oh, that portion of it.
Cool.
That's we'll get to that because that's going to be a multi-purchase.
Yeah.
I need several of these.
I think that's one for people that don't collect legions and don't know about this. They're going to be looking for it after the fact from retailers or whatever for, you know, G.I. Joe photography, for, you know, Transformers, for whatever.
If
Star
you've got
Wars.
Sci-fi or non-sci-fi, like, because it could be used in like you were saying, like some G.I. Joe stuff going on in the background. For sure, it definitely has the whole like Rebel base vibe. I was mentioning, like, eventually I am going to build my Hive diorama.
Mm-hmm.
And when I build it, it's like I want to have these things around a space station that's slowly getting taken over by a hive of xenomorphs.
Well, let's keep it moving. Let's go ahead and can you bring that up, Eldor? Let's go ahead and take a look at that thing. We're talking about the accessories.
One.
Accessory diorama pack.
Oh, right.
Right there.
So,
speaking of equipping, there, if you built a custom settle for the back there, you can equip these canisters on the side there to him, and just have him with the troops and what have you.
Just looking at this, like if you were to buy, let's say from a third party printer, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to buy like the generator by itself, unpainted, it's probably going to cost you $18-$20 for one of those pieces unpainted. Mm-hmm. You're getting like 4 or 5 pieces here, plus the tubing, all painted in great detail for $25. It's a ridiculous value.
Absolutely.
A nice cornering on the edges there.
Can you go to the next picture where you can see the blue generator disconnected from the cart? Which I just realized it slides in, that it's got like a T shape on the top under that handlebar that slides into the silver thing next to it.
That's cool.
Yes.
But if you zoom in real close on those vents, you see all like the coolant or mud or whatever like drip. I mean, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean,
and then you look at the computer screen and you can see some sort of readout. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not just blurry letters. I think those are someone actually scaled down the cosmic language to fit alphabet or whatever.
It's just so much detail and so many different pieces there for $25.
And the funny part is too, like a lot of people would say, and again, as this is a class and we're trying to let people know, anybody who's ever been around mythic legions, cosmic legions, you know, they don't skimp on this stuff. What you're seeing here is not just some kind of production photo, so it's painted a little more detailed. You're pretty much going to get exactly this when it launches, if not, in some cases, a lot ways better.
Mm-hmm.
And
they don't look too advanced, mind you. They're still using the old zip disks there.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and again,
100 megabytes.
There's a dial on their keyboard. Come on now, this ain't a Commodore 64.
I like the vibe though, because it's very much like Mad Max meets Star Trek or something. Like it's future technology, but still very mechanical and
right.
You know, versus the stuff we got in the earlier waves that we're getting in hand now, where it's the hologram projection coming out of the wrist. Like they definitely went more tactile with the accessories on this wave, and I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like 1960s sci-fi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 1960s, getting into the 1970s, possibly 80s. Like I
Yeah.
said, when I looked
You
at
just start
this,
throwing greebles on there, and I don't know what it does, but it makes it look like it's got more of a function.
Trouble
Well,
with
yeah, I
tribbles.
think there was this, this era in filmmaking, right, where literally they're just taking things that exist in our world and building on top of it. And yeah, I look at that
Right.
thing and it's like, yeah, that's a cooler with like some cool pieces plugged into it, in a good way.
Sure.
Same
Yeah,
same thing
yeah.
with that piece that you were looking at, that generator, right? It's like, yeah, that looks like the like, I don't know, the air generator, whatever you call it, the compressor that I have with like, but made to look sci-fi. And so it's awesome, man. It's just like,
yeah,
it really hits that sort of like sci-fi note that I, speaking for myself and my nearly 5 decades of life, like this stuff feels really familiar, but also very new. So
Well, and I like what Jesse was saying there too about the the difference between this technology and like the stuff with the holograms and stuff, because if you've got all these different alien races that are mixing and traveling through the galaxy, you're going to have different levels of technology as well.
it's going to be a melting pot.
Yeah, so I like that. I think it's very cool.
I mean, one of the most classic, I think, examples is the Camtono from Star Wars, which I didn't know was a
Sure.
thing until a couple years ago.
ice cream maker.
But to the point where, there were people at one of the celebrations where they're all in the orange jumpsuit running around with their it's an ice cream maker.
Oh, it's become
It
an
is.
annual affair.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like
the run.
Yeah, and
You-
it's
you-
literally just an old plastic ice cream maker
right, and
that they messed around
What
with.
what is an ice
it's
cream
now-
maker? I'm sorry, I missed that.
so there's the
in-
scene.
Go ahead.
So there's the scene in Cloud City where everybody's evacuating after Lando has made the announcement. Everybody
Yeah.
evacuate. The Empire's here. There's this one random dude
Will
who's
Hood.
running like he's holding his baby,
Mhm.
but the prop was just an ice cream maker.
Oh, all right.
So if you watched The Mandalorian, the when he goes to visit the oh god, what is his name? That the guy who hires him
Client.
essentially,
The client.
the
Yep.
client, right? Herzog, Werner Herzog.
Herzog.
Yeah, so he opens up that container that has the Beskar in it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that was
okay.
originally it's just an ice cream maker that you would buy in the store that was like dressed up to be a prop.
Gotcha.
Also, you recall in Star Wars too, the binoculars were that old tank game, but they
Sure,
used that in Luke Skywalker viewing Hoth there.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's the
And
vibe
I-
I get from these things.
Here it is.
And then, of course, as we all know, the Stormtrooper blasters were based on those World War II rifles there, just with a few greeblies attached.
and like-
what have you.
Even
if
as
I
currently
grew up
in
with this.
Ahsoka, the sphere, spoiler alert, there's a sphere map thing that's like an old puzzle ball, like an actual puzzle ball you could find, but it's really hard to find. There's a guy I see on Instagram every now and then who just goes through and finds the practical things that you can just go order on Amazon that they use as props and stuff in Star Wars. And I just,
Yes, I see those puzzle balls and cubes are getting more complex these days. There's one fellow had a big massive one that was made up of millions of individual. Well, it was beyond my reckoning, but
No, Qui-Gon's.
you said
communicator.
millions and my brain checked out. That's way too many numbers.
mine did too when I saw it.
Millions and millions.
Yes, it was all. Normally they're just all cubes and the smaller ones, but this one was quite large and they were just made up of individual little oblong pieces or little slices there. And,
But even right down to Qui-Gon's communicator in Episode 1, like it's very widely known now that was just a handle from a lady's razor.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Wasn't it you, Brick? We were talking, or who was I talking about with that just very
No.
recently? So it's a female lady's razor, and like next thing you know, it's this. The toy of it was this giant Comtech
yes.
thing with the
Yeah.
chips, and like was way bigger than what the actual the prop was in the movie. But yeah, I mean, you know, they're always just completely redoing it. That's right. Lawrence is saying here, we were talking about the Razor. That's right. When I was on a Punk with Toys channel on Thursday.
Oh, Lawrence says so.
Good
Good
stuff.
evening.
If you want to go see a fun conversation that got real deep at one point, definitely go check out Lawrence's channel from this last Thursday where we were sitting down, just chatting, having a good old time, talking about the life of Oz. Not all sunshine and rainbows, but still pretty amazing.
So
What's the next fig?
Well, before you move on, can you go to the picture of them, like the movie still shot? Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So there you get a good shot of how big this stuff is.
Right.
These aren't like little crates that just like sit behind them. Like they're standing
Need someone
up.
to
I mean,
carry
their
those.
knees might be a little bent, but like those are substantial accessories. They're not
Mhm.
just, and seeing them in
Agreed.
person, Oz got to see them at PowerCon.
Yes.
The diorama was full of a bunch of them that were painted different even before they revealed
Right.
this.
All
And
throughout.
not all of them, but like the crate looking pieces, the more
I said all
generic looking
throughout.
stuff.
Right. All throughout
There's a
the
couple of them.
entire thing where, you know, they were scattered around. And it was fantastic. I just thought they were actual pieces for the diorama, for the setup.
Mm-hmm.
And when they announced this, I was like, finally somebody's getting it. If you sell these little accessory packs, Mattel, people go for this kind of stuff. You know, especially in the adult collector market. Like, you know, because again, especially with one of the big things now coming into toy photography, you know, people are looking for stuff like this. Now, I don't want to go crash in the third-party business market of 3D printed goods and bits and bobs, as we've said before. But I mean, look, you know, the fact that there are so many people out there with 3D printers making stuff like this, it just proves how much more companies are leaving money on the table. But that's okay, because somebody's going to snatch them up.
Well, here's
the
here's the thing though. A lot of companies would not be able to put this stuff out here painted in this level detail for $25. Like this kind of you're not getting this type of value from Hasbro or Mattel, you know.
No.
Yeah. I was going to say the cool thing about the 3D community, the printers with these types of things, especially since like that one cart, like the generator slides out on like that T shape or whatever, they're going to be able to find other things to work into this. You know, they'll be able to make other things. They can hook onto those hoses. You know, they can find other things. They can get the measurement of the inside of that crate and make stuff that will like stack and fit in there. So if you get multiples of these, you can throw some, you know, someone's going to make like a space 6-pack or something to go into these. You just
especially
know it,
that cooler looking one up at the top, you know, the little like white and blue one. That thing looks like, you know, it was designed for space tailgating. And that's exactly what's going to happen with it, man. Somebody's popping a 12 pack or whatever in there.
You're, you know, thank goodness Trevor didn't put any glass bottles in here, but you know, you can get like little things that look like specimen jars and different things because they're taking samples. They're trying to, since they're stranded, it all just works right into the story, you know. And you see some of these pieces get reused later.
Canisters there, you might say.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I'm digging it though. Like I said, you know, seeing these at PowerCon, and I was like, yeah, I need a couple because I like having fun set pieces and accessories, and especially ones that really make sense like these do. And again,
I suppose the closest thing we got to this in Masters was Master Race Many Faces. You recall he came with the carry case for his face pieces there, so that's probably not as much as we get from that.
Right. And, you know, Ed's pointing it out right here that these, you know, each piece from here would cost you about $25 on Etsy. And it's true. Anybody who's looked on Etsy, you might be lucky to find somebody selling, you know, STL files if you have a printer kind of cheap. You could definitely do that. And a Punk with Toys is mentioning that Gridiron would sell a pack like that for $100. And you're right. You know, because that's kind of like what the value of those are. And honestly, what we get here, it's phenomenal. And there's that price right there, $25.
Yeah, and if you were going to get them from Gridiron, they'd be 3D printed, right? I believe those pieces. They're not. You know, and I was just holding these up because you really don't have to look far to kind of get a sense of the detail that you all have been talking about for these pieces. Because and also the modularity that you were pointing out, like what third parties could do, because we've got that here. First off, real quick, Force Awakens. Okay, so but yeah, no, like the attachments, right? Like we're seeing that, and like this piece right here becomes, you know, some kind of like mining tool or some kind of, you know, whatever. And we've got these extra attachments that sort of like close pieces off. What can what can customizing companies and third parties do with that? Right. And the level of detail, when I look at the paint on these things, this is what we're going to get on those little, those pieces that we just saw for $25. Right. And, so that was fantastic. Every time I look at these things, and I know, we're sort of doing the fanboy thing, but it really is amazing once you start looking at these things and the level of work that's put into these. And I still I want to be a fly on the wall in the factories, because, like, again, this is just mass produced stuff. Like, you know, a line of folks
intern for a day.
I mean, overseas. I'm talking overseas when they're producing these things. It's because what they can achieve is amazing. So, yeah, you just look at the accessories now and the armor bits, and that's the level of quality we're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised if it's better than what we're seeing in these photos. Like, no offense to the folks who put together the prototypes at all, but
they're all very well crafted. You know, they're absolutely amazing. This is selling us alone. And then when we realize that we know we're going to get better, it's hard not to want these. It's one of the reasons that the Four Horsemen have definitely captivated me my whole life and made me rethink of how a toy should be, from the early days of Spawn through 2000X with He-Man, through, you know, again, even finding out about classics well after, you know, it kind of blown past. Super 7 was doing classics at the time I came around, or their ultimates of it, rather. But they've always wowed and impressed me and kind of revolutionized how a toy needs to be engineered. And they've done it here. And now we see them working on a lot of other indie projects as well, where they're helping doing tooling and engineering for other toys that are hitting the market. And I couldn't be happier for them that, like, you know, these guys used to work for other people. Now it's they work for themselves and they have the option to work for other people. You know, like, yeah, we'll take on another project and help you out, because they also want to see them succeed, because that's somebody else bringing something completely different to the table than what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah, the collaboration from the studio to the fans and the 3D printers and the other companies they work with is, and I'm not trying to make everybody sound out like perfect saints. Like, everybody's human, everybody makes mistakes. You know, I'm not trying to just totally be fanboy here, but like the fact that, you know, they encourage the 3D parts people to do something like Legions Con coming up in November, where they're like, we're all here. They're all busting their butt for the whole like week of that to be a part of it, and encourage people to buy. Of course, people are going to buy their stuff like crazy because it's the table prices at a convention. But then there's all the people like Wolf King and Legion Shop and, you know, Drunk
Right.
Gizmo with his dioramas. I shouldn't have started listing names because I'm not going to get near all of them, so I apologize. There's just so many awesome creative people that make stuff to go along with this.
Yeah.
And with Cosmic just coming out, I just think we're going to see so much Cosmic stuff coming out into people's hands, you know, the last couple months. It's going to be amazing to see this stuff on what people come up with at Legion's Con this year. And and God bless them. I'm not saying I'm not doing Cosmic customs, but they're Mythic's my jam. I'm staying in that lane for the most part. I'll dip over to Cosmic from time to time. They are so detailed.
I was going to say,
even go crazy trying to paint them.
even then, Jesse, like the work you've already done using Cosmic with your Mythic Legions figures. I mean, I know it was like simple head swaps on some female bodies and stuff like that. Do you have any of those figures close at hand that you could reach? I did want to take a moment while we're talking about Cosmic, since you do have those, where even if necessarily you're not into the sci-fi, you may be more into that fantasy. Well, that's Jesse's book. And
so I threw the soft goods from Artemis on Ziri.
Looks great.
And in my shelves, the escapees from the prison crash on Mythos. So she trades in her sniper rifle and pistols for a hand crossbow and a longbow. So just threw a couple Mythic accessories on her. Mostly she's intact.
Right.
And Vorga, I just gave her one of the Sphexian spears and threw, you know, one of the Buster swords and a shield on her back. Gave her one of the loin pieces from a scaphoid. And there's an axe on her belt and everything. You know, I just, you know, like wanted to work them into my Mythic shelves.
Exactly.
So that's, and Thygar, I have him, he's pretty much as is. I think I gave him a belt with a sword. And that's the only real difference, but I can't reach him at the moment.
Right.
Without knocking stuff over.
But again, Jesse, you are an extremely talented customizer. I love looking at your work. And this is some of the most simple, you know, as far as like what you could do with a easy custom, but you see how quickly you can adapt these figures to fit right in with a Mythic Legions shelf.
Don't know why you'd want to, but you can.
They don't need to be. That's for sure. They are definitely good on their own. But you get some really good options here. And I'm blown away by Cosmic, and I didn't expect to be this blown away by Cosmic.
He was so preoccupied with whether he could, he didn't take time to think whether he should.
We are living in a day and age where Jeff Goldblum's words have never spoke more true. Meanwhile, people like Mattel and Hasbro are looking at these going, I think we're going to be extinct. I mean, I wish, honestly, kind of, except for the whole Masters Universe thing.
Yes, sir. The action figures will be here after us, you might say.
Oh, that they will be. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in thousands of years when people discover all these piles of toys and all these things. Like, what was going on this world?
Were they offering to the gods there?
These strange little idols they carried around with them.
In the beginning, there was the cube.
In glass
we don't know where it comes from.
Guys, I need to go grab some more coffee real quick. I will be right back. Yes. But carry on. Grab the next guy.
All right, who are we going for there, chaps?
Let's go to Uka.
Yes.
Why not?
Man, when I saw this, yeah, there was a vibe with this, just like with watching Necronominus sort of be revealed, I was like super excited. You know, as they kept revealing stuff, I was standing up. It was the exact same thing. I had headphones on, and my kid was like, "What are you doing?" Like, you know, kind of like reacting and like, "Whoa!" And you know, I'd like pull him from his screen and go, "Look at that thing." And they loved Uka. They were just like, "What is that?" Such a cool looking character. Again, I'm a sucker for sort of a diversity of silhouettes. Like it doesn't get much different from the existing. Well, that's hard to say because Mythic and Cosmic definitely has a variety, but just that long, thick neck and then the sort of like flat head. Really cool stuff going on here. And then you got
It looks like those little tiny fellows they introduced in Star Wars recently. Little
the droid.
No, the little life forms there with the wearing the goggles and what have you.
The ones who are like droid experts. Yeah. What's his name? Oh no,
Babu Frick.
Yeah, yes, Babu
That's
Frick.
the one.
I don't remember what the race is or species.
I don't either.
We're seeing new ones all the time.
The paint job on this. Whew.
Yeah, he's my second favorite in the wave, just barely behind Kern Ray. He's got that little critter Thistlethorn type vibe. I mean, totally different, but he just has a similar feel for me. Like if I was only going to get one Cosmic Legion, it would probably be him. But just I love the weird shape. And as of now, they're saying the neck, like that upper torso, like that neck is not a separate piece. It is the upper torso. I don't know if they'll change that going forward, but for now it's at least part of the actual torso. But yeah, just the two different heads. He's got the one without the goggles and the other one, because they said there was no way to engineer the goggles to function at that size.
Where are we?
You mean like to make them removable?
Yeah. So they just did a version where they were just sculpted onto the head.
Yeah.
Just the way that it would stretch across the nose. It would probably just look weird as a dangling piece.
Yeah.
But his weapon, and I just love the whole story behind him, is like his culture. Like the Thraxxians don't like technology. It's because for whatever reason, but his race, his species, they love technology, like borderline worship it. Even if they don't know what it does, they'll tinker with it until they make it do things. So
do something. Yeah.
Like the Peglegs here in Star Trek. They take it without knowing what it is.
Like a scavenging kind of race too, yeah. But
yeah,
like you said, with an awe to it when they pick this stuff up. That's cool.
So just the whole cobbled together, like his weird little canister backpack, which I'm pretty sure we've seen similar. I feel like that's like a canister similar, like on Slog or something. You know, it's just got all these cables. Yeah. And, we get the full bare upper legs and lower legs. Like there's a lot of new parts on him. They might just be retooled versions of some of the stuff from the Greys. Oh, what are they called?
I don't remember either.
AS something is one of them. But yeah, because I think these are all 1.0 scale pieces again. As far as like the size,
I don't think
the
so,
ports and stuff.
I don't think so, because they were talking about the lower legs. They said are basically goblin size legs. So I think this is 2.0.
Oh, okay. I withdraw my statement.
I'm not 100% positive on that, but I'm pretty sure that they were talking about using this as like goblin legs. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I could have swore this was 2.0.
It's got a little bone trophy there. Bit of grass for his long car.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. I love this figure for people that like this kind of stuff. I love that this is giving something new to people that want all that diversity and all that stuff that you guys are talking about. This does nothing for me.
I totally assume as much.
Yeah, the bare lower limbs, it sounds like a good idea, but because it's bare lower limbs, you don't have the armor pieces that covers up that knee joint, which makes that look really weird. The face, the figure itself, the story, like this does absolutely zero for me. I mean, I'm going to get it because I'm going to get part of the all in, but I don't think this ever makes it to my display.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like that's really a plus, I think, for this line. Like, there's definitely, like, you can't please everybody.
No.
But like there's so much going on, and it's the same in Mythic Legions. Like, people are like, I just really love the knights, or you know, and there are other people who are like going to fill their shells with goblins. But there's definitely like something to be loved in this line. And yeah, I wasn't kidding. Like, I assumed that maybe this wasn't up your alley based on like just sort of getting to know you and your interest. But
no, I'll probably either trade it or break it apart for parts.
Sure.
You know, maybe use it for a goblin custom or something else. I don't know.
Not for everybody, but something for everybody, you might say.
Yeah.
Yes, and I hear you on the joints, but yeah, I guess that's again one of those particularities, right, in terms of our collecting. I don't know. I'm really intrigued by aliens. Like, this totally just brings me back to, like, you know, watching like Henson stuff, or like behind the scenes of like, you know, these old movies that I loved, and just like looking at like how that would be done, and the paint that people would be doing, the airbrushing on these like latex attachments on the legs, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it for me, it's kind of like centaurs. Like, I know that there's people that love centaurs, and they were excited when we got one in the line, and just the fact that, you know, horsemen were able to make that tooling work to make it a cool figure. But I don't need a centaur. Like, you can keep your centaur. So you know, so I'm happy for the folks in the line that want that thing. And that's the same way with this. Like, it is so wild and out there. And I knew that this would be one that like Jesse would love. So I'm happy for folks like you and Jesse that you guys like this. It's just not my cup of tea.
I gotta find a collector like you in my area, because I feel like we could go in and all in, and I could like get my parts. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You get up a good box of custom.
Yes, I got bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, and I love when they mention that the again, very Star Wars, or that old sort of sci-fi movie production mindset, where that weapon that he has is like based on the gardening tool, right? I got one of those in my shed, right, to reach up there and like clip the branches and stuff. Love it. Anyway,
yeah,
cool stuff.
I can't wait for him and I mean, I think this whole, like, I don't know if I'll be able to pull the trigger and get it all in before it closes, but I definitely want to get all these characters to use as they are. Yeah.
And if not, you know, there's lots of shows and
yeah, I say that,
and everything else. So
it's easy for me to get to a couple shows a year that have either street teams or the horsemen there, or, you know, a couple retailers. So
yeah.
It's So, but if you're further away, definitely the pre-order is the best way to go.
Punk with toys. Wait, you can not like something but still be happy for people that like it. This is a crazy live stream.
Yeah, man. Not like the ones that you rant about sometimes on Monday nights, man.
I tell you what, though, we haven't gone to Ilaria. I really like her. I think that you know, obviously the three, you know, that Crash Land have very similar suits. I love her color. I love her heads that she comes with. You know, the fact that the suits are slightly different to where they're not the exact same, but yeah, I think this one's really cool.
This thing is amazing too. And I love the coloring. I love. At first, I was kind of like, oh, in my brain, I can't help it. Like, I was kind of looking for a more uniform. It's not even the colors. Like, they could have all been purple, or they could have all been. My brain was like, oh, I kind of want to see that in a unit, but it's definitely grown on me. And it just, again, I go back to Micronauts, right? There's the red one, there's the blue one, there's the gray one, and I got over it really quickly just looking at these figures because they do look great together.
Well, in my understanding, I don't know, Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding from talking to folks that were at PowerCon was that the color on this looks quite a bit different in person than what it does in photography. Is that correct?
Yes. And that's not a diss on Trevor. But yeah, she's definitely a more like mauve, like a deeper, richer pink than the kind of more lilac-y purple as she's appearing in especially the black background photos. Because I've got a picture of her from my Instagram page pulled up on my screen, and yeah, it's definitely a
does it have like a metallic sheen to it, or is it flat?
I feel like all three of them had more of a flat look to it, but not flat, not as flat as the mythic PowerCon debuts have been. Like there is that kind of like, there is like that hint of maybe more of a satin than metallic. There's definitely something there that it's not just flat. They look really good. The colors and even Ovar with his orange and brown suit, like they are a little more vibrant in person.
Nice butt plate too.
Yeah, apparently when we had Jesse on or Scott Warren on, he called them the thongs. Apparently all the butt plates for Cosmic have thong designs on them.
Gotta say, always a fan of some sweet cheeks. I mean, what?
It's 100%. I was just looking at my Kragnar because I'm sort of shooting turnarounds of it while we talk. And one of the first things I noticed was like, dude, he's got some back, this kid.
Right?
What is that on her wrist there? Is that like supposed to be like a flashlight?
That's a flashlight. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So yes, and there's an option there for the
it's a really fat lightsaber.
I'm not gonna lie, this reminds me of an old yellow flashlight that my dad had hanging in his
It reminds me of the original Lego guns because Lego didn't do guns, but their original space things, they were like the megaphone pieces.
Yeah, that's hot. And Trevor would like everyone to know
going
that
to light
that
up
light.
when we get it.
I was just gonna say that.
But I wonder
what magically.
Yeah, I wonder what the end of it will look like. Like, do they have another picture of it with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like is it?
It
is like a
looks
transparent piece.
White paint.
Yeah.
It looks like Ovar's like the plugs on the front of his suit, where they're like a semi-transparent, translucent plug.
Does it have the attachment to the arm? Are you saying that is it's built onto the thing, right? It's not
it's a
plug?
It's a plug.
It is.
Plug. Yeah, I'm saying the end, like the light piece,
right? The lens.
If you go
or whatever.
Ovar, the little green guy with the orange suit, he's got. It looks like he's got 4 lights in his chest instead of the screw, like the rivets, like the other two do.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming like he's probably got like a light up torso. So if he goes into a dark space, he's got illumination.
Okay.
Built into his suit. But and I'll say this for folks who are new to this stuff, when you look at the photos that Trevor does and the Horseman post, as always, I think they say it on all the pictures, some details and colors may vary, in production. That's just hands down the way stuff works. But when you look at those more cinematic, more posed with the backgrounds and all of that sort of stuff, those are meant to show off how cool these figures can be.
Right.
Yes.
Try to remember that just because you see something in that picture does not mean it comes with the figure. It does not mean it lights up. It does not mean XYZ. Like, those are meant to be an impressive thing. When you look at these where it's got like the black backgrounds, especially on the last couple years, Trevor's been doing all of the figures in this, and to show off what actually comes with the figure. And again, every now and then some stuff gets put in the wrong spot or, whatever. So it's like, oh, this sword wasn't black in the picture. It's like, well, it's okay. You're going to be fine.
I love that saw that she comes with. I think that thing is so cool.
I mean, she's got to tear up some concrete. That's for sure.
Yeah, that thing is great, and the heads and the faces, man. That thing is awesome.
The paint jobs on those faces are really cool.
Yeah,
I love the color choices on that, and just
she's got a scar coming off her right eye.
Oh yeah,
in between, not the
not
the yellow stripes. And you can see it on the other one too. She's got like a scar coming right past her eyelid.
Right.
Yeah, she looks like that Cobra Law out of G.I. Joe. I forget her name.
Yeah. Oh, I wish Aaron were with us tonight. Pythona?
I know he made this custom. Pythona, yeah.
Yeah.
He made that custom of her. But yeah, no, this is fantastic. And it's cool that they're using that plate system. It is a little odd. Do you know what's going on with that? If you go back to the head to the left, is there that there's supposed to be a hole there, right? I assume.
Nope.
Oh, it's going up.
The way the faces are going to be
partly plugged in there, perhaps.
The faces are a little softer, and there might be like a little tab up in the forehead piece.
Okay.
We haven't gotten any of these.
Little groove in there that might help hold things in a bit.
But yeah, they're designing the face plates to work in helmets to where there is like a seal, like the same with the knights, like Sir Elijah. He's got the chainmail head, and the faceplate comes out, and you can swap it for the skeletal faceplate or another face that's got that same that will fit that same shape. But we don't have any of those in hand yet. I think they introduced those during the Necronominus wave. So once we get those, but the Monkey King has a snap fit, but he doesn't have as much of a like a seal around his head. Like
that's what I was gonna say.
So
yeah, that's why
they're a little softer. They might just snap right in.
Yes, they have a bit of a tension grip to them or something.
That's the word, tension. Sorry. Yeah, and I believe that saw piece will fit onto the more like the chain gun things you were holding up earlier, Brick. Oh,
like Vorgas and
yep. Yeah, I think that's the same plug that would fit into that. I think. Could be wrong.
So that could potentially fit on the front of Ray's speeder.
Yes, you could get that someone doing with the like the dual hand action on that thing.
Yeah.
Do they have a picture of her holding that or no? Okay. I'm just wondering how that would look with her holding it, because it's only got the one handle, but it looks like a big contraption. But like, how would you? Yeah, I don't know. Because like Vorgas has two handles. It's like the one in the back, and then the one forward. But this saw only has one handle, so it'll be interesting to see how she actually holds that. So
the suit gives you additional lift power.
There you go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the suits are definitely.
This looks like Space Cop. Like, I don't know. Like I don't know.
The head with the head.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
I agree. Yeah, definitely very Space Cop-esque. And I know you guys were talking about it earlier because I was kind of watching the live here. I love the colors on this suit. My only wish was that they had green highlights because, I love purple and green, but it is just
Jokerized.
Phenomenal, the detail.
Why so serious?
Yeah, no, and just look at the interior of the head area, the interior of the suit. Like I
Right.
love those details. That's like
Right.
I don't know.
They
if you guys are
could've-
familiar with-
That's why you don't cover it up by putting a dome on it, because then you don't get to see all that.
I don't know if you're familiar with Machine and Kruger at all or Mac stuff. Is that
Mhm.
anyway? It's this old Japanese model line, but that same kind of thing. There's all this really cool plush interior to these giant sort of mech suits, and you'd see the head.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyway,
Nice.
Just like with Snake Mountain there and the Bone Throne, they cover up all the computer sticker work or detail work is behind there.
Right. Yeah. When you snap
Put a-
that
put a
bone
seal
throne
that
into
detail.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why'd you put it back there just to cover it up? Don't cover up your backsides, people. Come on.
Perhaps they were ashamed because they couldn't get the microphone system in there, and that was usually the battery pack on the vintage set.
I can't not
surprised-
see the space cop now because I see like a sheriff star in his face.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, looks like a sheriff's
It's
badge right in the
definitely-
middle of it.
Definitely.
It's like your robot cops in the first Star Trek movie there,
Oh.
Mr. JJ.
See, I'm seeing that as that's her. She's wearing that when she's doing the navigating. So it's kind of like her. I don't know. That's the way I'm reading it, enjoying that design. Is that helps her to navigate and see
Well,
the star charts or the paths or whatever.
And see, I'm seeing it as she needs more help trying to
sensory
navigate because she
deprivation,
got him
right.
crashed. So
She is the navigator, not the pilot. Not the pilot.
Hey,
There's a
navigator's supposed to tell you how to not crash. So
I thought Curtis was going to say she needs it to be able to see through that goddamn bubble. But yeah.
that too.
I hope she didn't have the bubble on while she was on the ship.
Yeah.
I could just see how we crashed right now if that's what was going on.
Man, again, I just love that face. That face just screams like a certain era of the X-Men that I love.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I do
With
like
the,
it better with the like the hood,
Shi'ar.
on it, that part right there, rather than the base head without it.
Well, I like that we get two looks though with
But
it.
you really get three because you get the
Right.
one look with the two face plates and then the basic head. So
Right. Right.
Or you
I
can just
mean-
take the neck peg out completely and
Make
it's
it a
just a
suit.
suit hanging on the wall.
yeah.
Right.
nice.
Right.
Right.
You can
Who would
definitely
do
do
that
that.
though? Who would just put things in as suits? That's crazy.
Toy photographers.
Oh, that's right. I just did that.
Or you take the face off and you've got Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll say this: if anyone crashed a ship, it's her husband Velok. He
Well,
is
yeah,
the
because she's
pilot.
nagging at him. She's like, blah 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 blah, and he
Man,
he's
look
like,
at-
screw
some
it. He
Wait,
probably
you
crashed
can't
the
switch
planet
your
on
story. You
purpose,
can't say
You know.
the navigator should be telling you what to do as the pilot, and then say she's nagging. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
can't
then
have it both ways.
she clearly gave him bad directions. So
Oh my goodness.
the
And, you know,
awkward
he wasn't gonna
misogyny is
stop
not
and ask,
reflected in all
so.
posts of the Legion's class.
Thank you for the disclaimer, Brick.
Oh, that looks awesome, man. That
It
just looks
really does look good.
so good. And again, this is my uniform thing, but it's interesting to me that their centerpieces are all kind of different, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Again,
nobody
it's
had a problem with lightning pussy, but if you say this, the woman's nagging at the guy driving the
Because
spaceship,
again,
that's
you
a problem.
dirty boys. It was Thundercats,
Right.
lightning pussies.
Okay.
It's totally like
Gotcha.
that's the so we don't get sued clause.
There you go.
Who Sue's claws? What?
do you ever see
Yes.
sorry, never mind. Moving on. Let's see her husband.
Yes. Let's go look at that
Indeed,
blue armor.
The relationship blossom there, you might say.
And if you read the bio,
Ugh.
it's actually everybody was asleep, so really nobody's at fault. I'm guessing it was a rogue asteroid or meteor storm.
Sure,
Yeah.
Jesse.
And everybody wants auto driving cars.
No, they don't. I don't.
Good on you,
They're
Jesse. That's
they're
right.
all.
I mean,
over
I
here,
do because
man.
I hate driving, but I don't want
You don't.
my car to drive for me.
You just
I'm
can't
the
trust
knight
the
in at least
machine.
2000. Well, you can call me Kid.
I'll take that. I'll take that one. Yes, I'm all for having a kit. This thing is awesome, man. This is like, I know a lot of folks have immediately kind of jumped to like the Warhammer and even the sort of like the Marines and the StarCraft stuff.
I was going to say, I went
Um,
straight to StarCraft with the looks
but
of
I-
these suits.
And I don't know, I never see that as sort of a negative because again, like we've talked about it earlier, there's really not a whole lot that's new under the sun, right? And it's really off kind of like variations of things that we've seen before. But I think that's actually where what I appreciate about the Horsemen is that, you know, like we could say the whole Mythic Legions thing, right? Oh, they've got elves and dwarves, and like that's not necessarily a new thing. So of course there's going to be things in there that are reminiscent of whatever Tolkien or, you know, whatever else you want to go to with high fantasy. So, but I do like, I like what they've done here with this armor. I do think that there's enough that sort of makes it different and unique. And again, I think the color thing, and then the last thing I'll say about it that I've loved about Cosmic so far, and I've heard people, you know, say this is a bad perspective to have, but the fact that we still don't have any Earthlings, I think is just awesome. Like this truly is a completely different world. I know. But
You know, you could just
that's what
pop a
the
human
third
head.
party. Now you go make all those cool human heads for us, and a bunch of people will be happy. Throw them in here.
See,
But
to me, this is
But
this
the
is
humans
an
are still a
Earthling.
young race, so they haven't been
Yeah.
approached yet.
This is an Earthling with makeup on, so
He's got pointy ears.
I don't care. He's got
Okay.
no ears. He's got it covered up with a hood right there. So
And he also has a huge scar in his face under his left eye from his.
plus, I know a lot of Earthlings with pointy ears too. So
No, you don't.
yes, I do. It's called
I
body
have a-
modification, Jesse.
I have a pointed
Oh,
ear.
yes, indeed.
It was inadvertent, but I have a pointed ear.
there's
that-
that Cobra Commander I was talking about earlier. But
I was going to say, go to the Cobra Commander Dome.
that's for Lawrence.
Yep. For the G.I. Joe fans out
There
there,
you go.
we got your Cobra Commander right here.
Cobra!
It may not be a hooded Cobra Commander, but we understand that.
G.I. Joe? Get them out of here.
I will say that's not necessarily my favorite look, but it's cool that we've got this sort of additional thing.
Right.
But
I agree. And with the blue armor, it definitely has those Cobra Commander tones here.
I want to see that head, this formation or this combination on like a droid type character.
Oh, yes.
It's somewhere between the robot from the new Lost in Space and Isaac on Orville.
Yes.
That new Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Well, the night the world stood still, was it?
It was it Gort or yeah,
Well, one of those.
something like that.
Anyway, yeah, let's see what other.
Brick, I agree with you. I'm glad there's no Earthling human characters so far.
I've got plenty of barbarians and
Curtis he
humans.
says he can be happy that other people are happy, but he has to let you know how much
I
he
know. We
doesn't
know.
like it.
Because I just said, like, when we had the Uka on, right, or Uka or whatever the hell that guy's name is, like, I don't like that character, but I'm glad they put it there for you. But you guys are like, if they put a human there for you, even though they put a human there for Curtis, I don't agree. No humans, no, Curtis can't be happy. Only I can be happy. That's bullshit. I'm happy for you when you get something you like. I
think that's fascinating that you read all of that into it, but okay.
That's exactly what it is. I'm happy for you getting your weird aliens. You should be happy for me if I get a human. But instead, you guys are like, no humans, anti-human. We hate humans. Kill the human race.
I said
guess
I
so.
like that they haven't done it
Humans.
yet. I'm not going to be mad if it happens because
Yeah, okay.
you're totally.
Why are you
speculating
happy
on-
that they haven't done humans? Wouldn't that just be a figure you don't buy, but maybe somebody else enjoys? Why?
Well,
why does
no.
it make?
Fine.
Why does it
Yeah,
bring
I mean,
you
I'm not.
joy
Well,
that they
I'll tell you
haven't
right
put out
now,
a
I won't
figure
be
that other
upset.
people would like?
Okay.
I won't rant.
Well-
I won't be angry about it. But what I love about this this world that it truly is sort of like it's not of this place, and I've struggled with that in a lot of sci-fi, right? Like that's the one piece of. Granted, Star Trek is like meant to be a future version of our reality, but like I've always struggled with that when they'd land somewhere and then they'd see like an illusion or something, a construct of like Sherlock Holmes or like a Chicago or like come on now, like give me a whole other world. And I've appreciated that about this sort of sci-fi world called Cosmerrium, not Mars, and that I'm truly in kind of this other world. And
We have
I'd love that about
Mythic
fantasy.
Legion. We
What's
have
that?
We have humans in Mythic Legion,
Oh,
and they are
totally.
not from Earth. They're not Sherlock Holmes. They have no tie-in to Earth. They're just
Sure.
humans,
Yeah.
and there's no reason why we can't have the same thing in Cosmic. I'm not saying that they have to, but if they did, I would be happy. And for anybody that says I'm happy that they don't have it in there, well, go F yourself. So
That's
Well, depending on how early
on
and if I
the
still have
subject of
energy, I'll take your
humans there.
advice. So.
They should have a few wizards, I think, as well. Oh, get out.
exactly. Yeah, throw some wizards in there too.
Space wizards work. We've seen it in Star Wars.
I have all sorts of reasons, but I appreciate this. Like think about all the creativity that's going into like every single thing that they're creating. How do we make this thing look? And I know for a fact, just based on the way that they have revealed their thought process on a couple different figures and creating toys, like there's a lot of thought that goes into each and every one of these, and like creating new races and beings. So I don't know. To me, if I were in their shoes, man, like this is like one of the funnest things probably that they've ever been able to do, right? Especially when I know that, they wanted to do Power Lords back in the day. I can just see like from an artist's perspective, it's like, wow, I'm creating all sorts of new stuff. But again, I won't be mad when they
Trevor too, just so you know.
What's
Trevor.
that?
F Trevor too in the chat. So
I'll bring it up here. Hashtag no humans.
No humans for you. Sorry.
Haters. Effing haters.
We're not hating, but like you can take this spacesuit and go pop your human Mythic Legion's head on it. Bam! Now you got a human.
I absolutely am. So
you don't need to buy a whole new figure. You're buying this whole new figure, but you've got the head already. Head already, Curtis. Stop complaining.
I will be incredibly surprised.
I'm not complaining
if they don't do human.
I am perfectly happy with everything that we've got in Cosmic so far. I am not complaining.
Develop closely to humans that look exactly like humans, so you could have that too.
Yeah, I have no problem with what we've got in Cosmic so far. But I'm not saying like if there's something else that you guys are looking for in the Cosmic, I'm not going. I'm glad we haven't got that yet. I hope we never do.
That's true.
Like if you're looking for some sort of lizard shark alien with tentacles, I'm not over here going, I'm glad we're never getting that, because that would be awful.
I'm really
but I will say, just to offer a little bit more on this line of thought, the default is human. So all I'm saying is that it's
guess what?
Incredibly,
Curtis, let him finish talking.
Yeah,
we're the only toy collectors.
It is incredibly refreshing to have a whole world filled with these things, and like again, we all have our sort of tastes and our interests. Like when I was in Star Wars, like of course, I like Han Solo, I liked all that stuff, but I was fascinated by Chewbacca and C-3PO. And I love that stuff. And I get excited every time we get new Star Wars. Like right now, we're Ahsoka. For the first time ever, we've got a protagonist that isn't a human. And that's really fascinating to me. And I think it's a fun, creative challenge to try and write that story and get people engaged in something where the person that you're looking at and meant to identify with doesn't necessarily look like you. And I don't know, I can only imagine from, and I've never spoken with any of the four horsemen, but they strike me as like, you know, from the things that I've seen and heard, they strike me as just like really loving to be creative. And here they are literally creating a whole new world. And to me, it's like, how different of a world can you create when there are no beings that look like the beings that we are, and yet people are still latching on to this and being like, oh cool, I like that hero, or I like that story. I don't know, to me it's a huge feat and accomplishment on their part. That said, you know, to your point, the shark thing or whatever, it's just different. It's different because we're talking about something that is not the default.
Right.
So,
Again, fellow Etonian here.
I feel shots were fired though, because I definitely want a lizard shark with tentacles now. Just saying. I mean, I'm
What,
still
the
waiting for
lizard
Dr.
people?
Evil's sharks with laser beams on their heads, because we need more of those too.
but truth be told, like I was saying earlier, I'm not gonna be surprised when the humans come. Like I get it, it's probably gonna happen, but I'm enjoying the fact and applauding the fact that hasn't happened yet, and we're in wave 4 essentially. But period.
But maybe they'll come in the big Starfleet there and sort everything out.
Well, it's going to be the humans that
Indeed.
go and save the OxKrewe. Just saying.
Okay, there's an elephant in the room. There's an ox in the room that I haven't actually named yet, because I just felt like it was just a stupid little nitpick. But now that I've sort of shared my hand around the whole, like, oh, you know, Star Trek with a Sherlock Holmes, or, you know, always going back to music from our century. What's with the ox? I thought that was kind of interesting, because that was very much of our world in terms of even the logo.
I appreciate that it's very close to Oz. I'm a little disappointed it wasn't named OxKrewe, but I'd also be upset if a crew named after me crashed on a planet. Just saying.
I mean, I'm just wondering, is that maybe because I was like, oh, that's very much of our world. Is that a sense that maybe there is a little bit more connection? I don't know. I don't mean to read into it. I will say that I was a little bit like, oh, I was kind of hoping for something a little bit not referential to our world, but then again, I like the gardening tool weapon, so.
And I think it's because it's the Qorgonox. Is the
That's
name of
where
the ship.
Mm-hmm. But then the logo's oxy looking.
It is oxy looking, yes.
It looks like a carabao from the Philippines.
I mean, Velik and Yulari are human-ish in that they have the general shape and humanoid form.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, the way that bone structure on the ox, because I'm looking at the shirt on Retro Rags Limited, you get a nice look at the logo. Yeah, Space Ox. I don't know.
Right.
It really wasn't like, yeah. I mean, as far as like whether or not there's a connection, I don't know. I just that's the one thing that I always, right when they named the thing, I was like, oh, okay, cool, OxKrewe, and then I saw the logo. I was like, oh, is this like we're actually doing Ox? But
yeah, they can't have.
Could
that.
just be a fun thing.
That's in our world. We can't have that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a Purgle.
Get rid of the garden.
It's a space wolf in Star Wars.
That's in our world. So
get rid of the what?
Get rid of the guarding tool. That's in our world too. No generators either. Get rid of that.
Sure.
Any kind of
bubbles.
Our
we
world,
use bubbles in space.
Of. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The characters have arms and legs. Like what?
Sentient beings. I mean, we've got that here. So yeah, I mean, they shouldn't have any of those. So.
All right, this is the point of the show where Curtis is taking all his toys and going home.
I was gonna say.
Yep.
This is it.
Throwing them out the pram.
Hashtag no oxes. Nukes. Yeah, I mean, that
Nukes.
said, I think this wave is pretty damn cool. I think after sort of sitting, like, I really have been trying to trim back on a lot of the things I've been getting lately, because I've been dipping into all sorts of stuff. Like, like I have no business getting, like, this is an Astrobots thing. Like, I just saw it and it was cool and I wanted to check it out and I love it. So, like, I'm exploring all sorts of stuff. So trying to curb my spending a little bit by not necessarily going complete and doing all in. But as we talk tonight, it's just like, man, there's none of these that I'm like, oh, I don't like this. So
it's kind of how we went through with the last All-Stars wave too. It was, I mean, there was a couple where it was like, okay, well, I don't necessarily want nope. You know what? I'm all in now.
yeah. And so did this have anything else that we haven't looked at yet? Like, like other waves, they have like hands packs. I forget. Was there anything else to this wave?
No,
Okay.
just
No, I
what you
think
see
that's it.
here.
But still $2.99.
And I'd say overall worth it. Can you go
Oh, yeah.
pull up the all-in picture there too? So again, people can kind of see that scaling of the whole wave together.
Oh, yes.
There's your shot of scale with that. What is it called? Something back?
The lowland scape back.
Scape back.
Just got to think of that
It looks like-
landscape.
As far as the hands go, that everybody comes with at least 2 sets of hands.
That's right.
Most of them have more than Orvar and Velok. It looks like are the only ones that only have 2 sets of hands, but it looks like everybody else has at least 3.
And the way these creatures are being created, like, you have to be really selective, right? There's not a whole lot of universal hands that'll work across multiple figures.
I mean,
Anyway.
they did do hands packs for Volcatar Book 1.
Right. I bet, but I mean,
That
in this
are-
wave, to go
in
go
this
with
wave?
these guys, yeah, it would be kind of weird now that I think about all their different hands.
Yeah, because their suit hands have like guards over the first 2 knuckles, like the first 2
Yeah.
sets of fingers. So they're very unique to the crew design as far as the crew characters go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wondering, like, I'm not at all thinking like I feel shorted at all. Like $2.99 for these figures with everything you're getting, with all the tooling involved and just the level of detail. And we've got a $25 like badass set of accessories that we've all kind of been fawning over.
Yes.
It's cool
Agreed.
stuff, man. That's the thing that trips me out about this cosmic line as it's come out, is like every wave we're getting new different, new things, new species, new creatures, new. Yeah, I mean, it just makes me wonder how I don't know. I keep thinking about the early days of Mythic. I guess, at the end of the day, like, they've had so much experience with Mythic Legions that they didn't necessarily have to follow the same sort of like rollout style, I guess, with Mythic, because a lot of those were like, they weren't as sort of like drastically different from wave to wave in the first couple of waves. So
Right. Yeah,
Anyway.
I guess they've just gotten to a point where they can experiment more. They can play with new stuff more and take more of a risk in doing something like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just on a stream yesterday, and it seems like it's a recurring thing, but I was on Mega J Retro last night, and he had this whole thing. It was like, are indie toys the future? And when I often like talk about the Horseman as sort of like, from my perspective, as this sort of like I don't know, this real like sort of next level, particularly with Mythic Legions, and sort of everything that's surrounded that we've talked about here on this show with Legions class, with the like the diehard fan base, the swap, pop and swap, and the level of sort of like, you know, what we were touching on earlier, Curtis was talking about, you know, being able to sell figures. And there's just so much that I think from the sort of indie toy, I don't know what you call it, world, that the Four Horsemen and all their sort of toy lines and the people surrounding it have sort of just created a template almost, and like laid all of this foundation for these new companies to kind of like benefit from, frankly. And so every time I just sort of figure like, oh, at what point is it going to feel, I don't know what's the word, like, oh, more of the same, you know, with everything that they own. But it's like, nah, we're doing Figure Obscura now, and this is the one, you know, like there's just all sorts of new stuff. We were talking about it earlier with packaging. They could have easily just given us, oh, here's the Mythic Legions packaging, but like with new cosmic sort of like, you know, cardboard.
But after 100 years, things can still surprise you.
Yeah.
Oh, sit down there.
I was just going with the indie toy thing because I feel like more and more people are paying attention to it, especially after PowerCon. You're hearing a lot more people going like, wow, like there's all these indie toy companies. And for many of us, particularly in this room, it's like we've been aware of these things, right? And so I love that people are paying attention, and I just always kind of want to highlight particularly what the Horsemen are doing.
Yeah.
Just because it's so like, just they keep pushing and pushing and pushing and sort of like switching up the game. Like today, it just occurred to me as I was sitting here thinking, like, even this whole business, right? Like that we were talking about earlier with the accessories, and now in this line, they're like, well, shit, let's do some accessories and Dio stuff. I don't know.
Right.
It's pretty fascinating to watch. So that's all.
You know, a lot of people will complain about the bigger companies not necessarily giving them what they want. And one of the best parts about about the indies, you know, they're a bit more in touch with what we're looking for. Because, you know, I mean, they're not Mattel, they're not Hasbro, so they don't have a bunch of money to fall back on in case this doesn't work. They've got to make sure that people want to buy the product. So they listen to stuff, they watch what's going on, they try to get involved with the community a bit more. I mean, again, look, Walter Hagen, just a fan of Mythic Legion, started the Cabal, and you go into the Cabal and you can feel the presence of the Four Horsemen in there, looking and seeing what people are doing. And they're like, oh yeah. And well, I mean, heck, now, you know, Jeremy Gerard, big fan of Customizer, now working for them. So, I mean, like, you know, we definitely covered it before when we've talked about from fans to creators. And it's felt all throughout the indie community right now. And it's after PowerCon, it seems to have struck a chord, and it's at least taking the toy collector world a little bit more by storm than it was before. It's a little bit more front and center now. And, you know, I've been saying it since PowerCon, like, you know, that was really a big show of how you can still have a big convention. And I mean, it's not massive, it's not SDCC, but at the same point in time, it's getting word of mouth to that level that SDCC was, at least within the communities that I'm aware of. You know, it's certainly making its mark, and I'm glad that we're in again to credit Ken for his term that he coined, it seems, that toy renaissance that we're in, where we're seeing a lot of reinvention and a lot of new IPs coming, and it may be fueled by the nostalgia factor. You know, at least I know a lot of people are drawn into it from the nostalgia, but there are so many people out there now who watch shows like this who'll end up watching Trevor and everybody hanging out on Legion's Lounge. They're going to catch Jesse's Mythic Minute on Thursdays, right before they, scroll on over to Toy Frenzy and come hang out for a while, that are catching wind of all of the greatness that's coming. And that's mostly just dedicated to Four Horsemen. But then you've got the more adjacent stuff, like a lot of people who are into this are getting involved in AWOC because they kind of work. They're getting involved with Savage Crucible. Our good friend Matt.
In there, I think he was recently on the TV set, wasn't he? Or something?
I was just about to bring it up too. Yeah, Matthew Rodriguez with Ideas from Mars, and bringing Defenders of Eden to the forefront. Armies of Ashmore, also sculpted by the Four Horsemen. Just putting it out there. Beautiful, gorgeous looking figures. We have new systems and bucks on the way. New articulate, like. The articulation points on AWOC are just about unmatched anywhere else in the toy world right now, it seems. Like, all of these things are on fire. And that fire is catching, and it's spreading, and I couldn't be happier about it. Sorry, rant over. Everybody presume things.
Yeah, no, it's a wild time right now, but yeah, I wanted to say that because it's fresh on my mind. It's from last night, and we were talking all about sort of indie toys. We actually had Jason from Spiro Toys on talking about like his story, and earlier you were starting saying that like Mattel, sort of the differences, whatever. But I think one of the main differences is to come back to the Four Horsemen creating this stuff. Like from what I can see, they're creating the stuff that they want to create, and they're also calling the shots. So I think they're giving themselves and their company the freedom to basically do whatever it is in their brain that they want to put out there. So yeah, while I agree with you, I think they're in touch with the fans. I think at the end, they're in touch with what they want to create. And it just happens to be that the shit they want to create is the shit I want to buy. So
right. Everything we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you guys missed that stream last night, let me go ahead and drop that link real quick.
I think one of the things that Horsemen and stuff like Sparrow and Fresh Monkey Fiction and all those other places have the benefit of they're not tied into the IP and other companies who own the rights to the stuff they're making, like which is that stuff's cool. Like I love Star Wars, I love He-Man, love Transformers, love all that stuff. But the cool thing about like all these companies that are doing all this indie stuff, their own thing, is this might, Velek might remind you of an Ultramarine or StarCraft, but like he's his own guy, his own story, and like the Monster Force is somewhere between G.I. Joe and Universal Monsters, and it's they can play in these areas between established things, and they can either rely on your knowledge of these other things that are adjacent or similar or inspiring, or if you want to be negative, derivative of other things, or just completely subvert what you think that thing is going to give you, and just do their own thing with it. It's just really cool. I can't collect them all, I can't follow them all, but there's a ton of awesome stuff out there, and yeah.
Yup.
So if I could, I'd be piling in all the Mythic Legions there for various customs or keeping them as is, but as it is, the gold's a bit sparing there sometimes.
Yeah, that is part of what we talked about last night too, in terms of like, you're a toy fan and you're into this stuff and you want to, like, the funds are limited. And again, I said that about this wave because I was trying my best to maybe just get a couple, and like I get on these shows with you guys and I'm like, oh, man. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff.
So I wanted to make sure that the link that I just had up on screen for a while, that was definitely the link to Brickstream last night with Mega J, where Jason was there. And if you guys haven't seen it, I dropped it in the chat through StreamYard, so I think that should go to everybody's, but I can't swear to it because I'm not entirely sure how all this works. But I put it up there. It's on Brick Something's channel, so you can definitely all check it out there. Make sure you go subscribe.
Hey,
Also,
thanks.
wanted to drop this link in the chat too, because a little bit before Mega J and Brick were going live, there was this real epic stream on Let's Go Offworld that showed another great and fantastic, amazing. I guess they're kind of getting out of the shadow of more indie now that they are kind of like more, they're owned by like Funko. So right here is the link to this amazing review of that Mondo Battle Cat on
That was
Let's Go
wild.
Offworld. Oh man, definitely go check that out. And again, if you're not subscribed to Let's Go Offworld or just shelve it, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe like right now.
Don't miss the next shuttle there. Indeed.
Don't do it. Don't miss out. I guess it's kind of a good part to wrap things up a little bit. Because I mean, have we all talked about what we want to talk about with Cosmic Legions tonight? I know we definitely went over. Should we go over the lore more, or should we just drop the link for Source Horseman?
Yeah, I feel like
Bit of
that's a
story
whole
time.
other night, man.
Definitely.
Sourcehorseman.com for sure.
Yes. Let me go grab that because I know we dropped it in the private chat here. So again,
or you can check out our Mythic Minute there with Jesse above me. He tells the stories there rather well.
Yes. Always check out the Mythic Minute.
On the old Legion's Cabal there, live on Facebook.
And if you're watching the show and you're not in the Cabal, again,
go
check out the Cabal. I think the official number's over 5K now, right? Because I know like it showed 5K, but it wasn't quite there. I'm pretty sure it got to that.
I think it's
Legion there indeed.
5.1 now.
Fantastic. I mean, again, I'd like to say we helped out with that a little bit. I know there's been quite a few people that watch the streams who may have been hesitant previously about getting into Legions. However, I know these classes have helped quite a few people because when you see that secondary market, it gets scary looking at Legions. But one of the best parts about it is you don't have to look back. You can always look forward, because even if there was something that came out, unless it's one of the homages, which we know we're not going to get those again, there's always going to be a better version of a figure you're probably looking at. They had the all-star waves where, hey, if somebody's up, vote for them. Being around this time for the all-star process and the fan votes, the campaigns that were going on is gorgeous. It's such a fun community to be within, and you guys got to check out the Cabal if you haven't already joined. But don't be a douche either, because I will say Walter is an amazing guy, and he has no problems weeding out the bad ones in there. Not that we've really seen any bad ones. So,
And he is a gardener,
right? You gardener, not your governor. Oh wait, that's another joke. All right, guys. So it's that time where if we're going to be wrapping this up, we've got to go through and do the usual. Since we're all linear right now, let's start with Jesse. What's coming up on Just Shelve It?
Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, Kurt and I are talking to Connexus over from Instagram, talking toys, toy community photography, collecting, all that jazz on Shooting the Shelf. And then we'll be revealing our customer guest for next week at the end of the show tomorrow night.
Oh, very good.
here we have that beautiful link to Jesse's channel. Just shelve it. Catch Shooting the Shelf every Sunday right there. Again, if you're in the Cabal, you can join him for Mythic Minute every Thursday night. Definitely do so, folks. It comes on right before Toy Frenzy, and I'll put it this way. It's so quick because he does do about a minute, and then it's like he was able to do Mythic Minute and then immediately jump into doing Toy Frenzy one week when we had him on. So it's you can do both in one night, folks. I'm telling you. All right, Eldor, what do you got going on, brother?
So next week there on Friday the 8th of September, well, for you lot anyway, I'll have a Scully Vader on my channel of my custom figure time segment. With the live side of that, we'll be interviewing other creative peoples in our community. And as we know, Scully Vader, he's a really adept artist there and a sculptor. And he's done quite a bit of artistic work in his lifetime. So we'll be delving into a bit of his background there and so forth.
Nice.
And yes, we've had a few guests there already. We had a Mr. Wonderful with his Hexastack display system, and then up to recently we had Joshua Sky, one of the writers for the Masters of the Universe mini comics since about Wave 11, I believe. So yes, it's been quite a good segment there so far. So yes, can't wait for that one. So that'll be about 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and what have you.
Excellent.
Excellent. It's always a good time to have Skelevator on because Skelly is just an amazing guy. And check out his channel as well, Skelevator on YouTube. Let me grab that link real quick.
He's full of secrets indeed, you might say.
That he is. He's got a weekly weirdo coming up. And if it weren't for Skelly, if it weren't for Toy Frenzy, wouldn't even be doing this show on my own right now. So let's pop up Skelly's channel here.
Toy Frenzy segment, yes.
You know, you guys want to see a great customizer who's doing epic scale dioramas. You know, Skelly just recently finished a commission for his Snake Mountain, and it's mind-blowing. And you can watch the whole process on his playlist. He is one of the just one of the best. Absolutely. So solid. Also, big shout out to Toy Culprits joining us tonight here, jumping in, saying it's late. Hi, everyone. And he knows about Skella too. Skelevator is amazing.
He sensed someone talking about campaigning for All-Stars and jumped in.
Well, you know, it's what you got to do, right?
Get a start early, build that base.
That's it. That's it. All right. Brick, what you got coming up, brother?
I am definitely gonna have to be doing some unboxing videos of all of these amazing cosmics because I'm super behind, but I've been just having fun. Lately doing these shorts on the Brick Something channel, just sort of like just started with the whole shorts thing, just doing these little turnarounds. I was actually shooting some tonight while we were talking. So that's generally been a Monday through Friday thing. Sometimes it's more often than that. I'm gonna just drop them there on YouTube and then do them over on Instagram. Sundays are getting pretty busy. So tomorrow is an AWOC Talk Monkey Business Day. So I do a show with Highly Articulated over on his channel where we live stream. It's called Monkey Business, where we just do whatever. Sometimes we're doing interviews. Sometimes we're just talking about particular topics around Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. And then I work on these pre-recorded videos that are largely all about us talking through the lore of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. I've done some sort of shorts with the comic book assets that I've gotten from Spiro. And so tomorrow will be a double whammy day where there will be an episode of that releasing. And then at 2:00, he and I are going to do the live thing. And then at 4:30, I'll be doing the Brick Something news. And it's not really news if you're familiar with it. It's just talking about the needless ephemera we saw. So I bring on a co-host and we just talk about whatever cool things that we saw that week, whether it's custom stuff, whether it's actual toy news, maybe a show that we both watched. And that'll be tomorrow with Silver K, Kayla from the Geek the F Out channel. So I just did it yesterday with you all. We did a little special edition with Oz and Eldor.
That's right.
So yeah, and that it's super short, so that I think it goes from 4:30 to like 5:45 at the latest. So then people can choose from the wonderful menu of Sunday night entertainment, whether it's over on Jesse's channel, Jesse and Curtis, or GDL, Geek Dad Life, or Hella Dope. So come hang out for an hour and go watch something even better.
Your usual news running time, you might say.
Yep, 4:30, 5:45 ish. Sorry, Pacific time, West Coast.
Absolutely. All right. And I did flash Adam's channel as well for that coming up tomorrow. And
Awesome.
I meant to go grab GTFO. And it's getting lost in my subscriptions because I'm subscribed to so many channels. Give me a moment. I got this. I do want to flash that up real quick so everybody can go check that out as well as we all do the name dropping while streaming
Thanks,
here.
Oz.
Of course.
And obviously, you all need to be subscribed to the Ostradamus Toys channel. It'd be weird if you were watching us now and weren't, but
well, as we have
classic
this going.
Oz, he'll tell everybody to go check out all these other channels, and then forget to talk about the work that he's doing. So
What
check
do
that
you
out.
mean? Subscribe to my I have a channel? Oh shit.
Yeah, you go to his channel right now, and you'll see that it doesn't even have any videos. It's literally links to other people's channels.
It is. I have nothing posted on my homepage. It's links to everybody else. So go subscribe to all those beautiful channels. I got to do some updating, got to move some around. I had some people that needed to get to 500 that have recently cleared that bracket, and we got a couple more on the way too, which I'm really, really excited to see. I know Hella Dope's been grinding it up to the, big 500 there, and it's great to watch everybody's channel grow. I am so excited to see that, and one day I'll get there, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It takes as long as it takes, but I want to make sure everybody else is getting up there too. So absolutely. But Curtis, your time to roll around. I mean, I know you're constantly running with Jesse, but go ahead, brother. Take it away. What you got coming up?
That's it. We got the show that Jesse talked about tomorrow, and that's really it. So
that's not true.
Okay.
What's coming up next Friday?
I don't know yet. I'm guessing we have an off-world, but I don't know. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about yet. So,
or at least going to be talking about Helheim Volume 1.
That is true. We will be talking about Helheim Volume 1.
Oh, yes.
There.
And some other topic to be determined that'll be promoted later in the week.
There's also your Instagram that is filled with all sorts of cool things all the time that I've been enjoying.
I did want to mention, I know you guys have talked a lot about the Mythic Legion Cabal, but in the Cosmic Cabal right now, Ish's contest has just ended. It's the IshCon Kit Bash. So if you're in the Cosmic Cabal, it looks like he finished with 88 entries. So you can go and look at the pictures for him and vote on which one's your favorite. Nice. Looks like he's keeping it up for like the next couple days to see what the votes look like, and then they've got prizes and stuff from there. So a lot of really creative kit bashes mixing Cosmic and Mythic Legion. So check that out. It was a really fun contest. A lot of folks participated, and so just go and cast your vote if you're in that group.
There we go.
Is that a blue Hagnon?
I'm guessing that's Cullen's. Mine is 14. Let's see what 20 is. Yep, that's Cullen's. So he's promoting his own.
I got one more thing I forgot to say. It's not a show. I mean, it's a show, but it's not a YouTube show. Next Saturday and Sunday, I'll be working at the Wolf King table, Wolf King Customs table at RetroConf. So for anyone in the Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey area that can get to Oaks, PA, just outside Philly, it's a massive toy show Saturday and Sunday. Cybertronic Spree as part of it. You got Bo, Luke,
yes,
and Jesse
those
Duke
are
from Dukes of Hazzard are going to
awesome.
be there. They have some vehicles and stuff. Len, the guy who's runs Wolf King Customs, is going to be doing the street team for the Horsemen, so he'll have a ton of awesome stuff from the Horsemen at normal Horseman prices. Anthony and Mark Houseel will be there with the Toy Forge, and Patrick Boyle and Nate Armstrong will be at the Wolf King table as well with me as we're running that. Len's running the Horseman table. So yeah, RetroCon, Oaks, PA. You can't buy tickets online for one day. You can only buy them for the whole weekend, or you can just show up and get a ticket at the door. But huge toy show. I believe they moved into a bigger space this year. Tons of stuff. I mean, it's RetroCon, so you've got vintage stuff all the way up to new stuff like Horsemen and all that. So it's definitely a cool show if you can make it out.
Yes, and the Cybertronic Spree fellows, they're rather a nice act indeed, as we know. They're all the Transformers in a bit of a band.
And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Stan Bush is going to be there with them this year.
Oh, yes, Stan Bush there.
Don't
You got the touch, you got the power.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Not Stab Bush.
So earlier I'd flashed up about Toy Culprit saying how much it was fantastic to meet. And again, PowerCon, I know we've all been droning on about it, those of us that got to experience it this year for the past several weeks. It was an absolute amazing time to be able to meet so many talented creators, get us all in one spot, because we all do see each other running in the same circles, watching the same channels. And it's, phenomenal to actually get a chance to meet so many people. I got to sit down and meet and talk with Trevor for a bit. Finally got to meet Jesse. I've been doing shows with him for months. He lives like 2-3 hours north of me. It took us to go 6 hours away from our current states so we could finally meet. We decided to go further away to meet. And again, meeting Toy Culprits and stuff like that. There's so many different personalities that you get to meet at one of these things. So, guys, if you get a chance to make it out to any of these fun conventions, RetroCon, ZoloCon just happened, DragonCon going on right now. They're phenomenal places to be able to meet different creators and really have a good time and just get to know each other on a different level than across the screens like we do. We all have these get-togethers that we do weekly, monthly, whenever. I've always got like 10 to 20 people jumping on my stream on the weekends. But it's a whole different beast to meet people. So on that note, guys, you can always catch me this upcoming Thursday with the rest of the fellas on Toy Frenzy. That's over on Skelevator's channel. We always have some fun topics to go over. So many great guests coming on. We got Broman coming up, where again talking about another fantastic customizer. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And if you kind of like a whole post-apocalyptic world, his version of Eternia is so dark and twisted but beautiful at the same time. He's coming up soon. Definitely check us out every Thursday night, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. for our friends on the West Coast, and all the various time slots in between. Check that out. Next weekend, you'll catch me right here at this channel, probably going for like 5 or 6 hours, because that's just how I roll. Even if it's like, only 4 hours, we'll probably do another 2 behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. But that's something that's going to start changing coming up soon, where patrons are going to get a little bit of that exclusive love, where they're going to be able to get some of the after stream conversations. I'm going to get those and start recording them and then posting them just for the patrons. So that's right, folks. It's going to be a fun deal to do, because some of those conversations are better than what you get here. And again, Toy Culprits, echoing what I was saying, meeting everybody was incredible. And I agree with them. If you recognize a face, do not hesitate to walk up and say hello. We are people. just because we get on a YouTube channel and we talk, do not be afraid. We're not like, okay, maybe Mega J needs a security team because we had to stop every 5 feet for him as we were walking through the convention, as somebody else would come up and say hello. Maybe Mega J could use a security team.
Cool.
But really, nobody's going to stop you. Come on up, say hello, shake a hand. Heck,
Hilarious.
you know, it was incredible. And I'm from a person who's got social anxiety, and I don't like that. But it was a different beast being at this kind of convention. There was a different feel to it. So it was really, really cool.
And speaking of toy culprits, just in case anybody was wondering, out of the 88 folks who he voted for himself because he's just that kind of guy.
And we love him for it. Gotta love him for it. Look. Number 20. Just throw it back up there.
That guy.
And Jesse posted Legion's Con coming up because if you want a great place to be able to meet quite a few of us here, that's coming up in November. And I know I will be there hanging out with Jesse and Sean and so many others while we all get to hang around. And it's going to be, this time there won't be as much of a presence from so many other indie toy companies, but there's still going to be a big presence and a lot of third-party customizers. You know, Jesse was already mentioned, like Wolf King Customs and such, that's going to be there. Definitely, guys, if you can, make it out to Legion's Con this November.
They are not sold out yet, but that show sold out last year. So like they generally, you couldn't just walk up and decide to go the day of. So if you want to go, get your ticket or tickets, whatever you're doing.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure hanging out with everybody.
And remember, it's not the end of the stream, but just another journey we all must take. Sit down there. Get off.
Getting a little crazy in class. And Ed, Axion Figs was there too. We got to meet Ed while we were there. It was just, again, it was a fun times. But have a good night, everybody. We've all drawn on long enough. And we'll see you somewhere in the crazy toy tube awesome verse that stretches all over the place. Peace. Where is it? Right